Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Prime Time Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and friends. And of course, I have brought some friends with me. Some of our panel are out. They're down for the count. Kay Asante is homesick. Apparently, his kids, like most kids, brought home the cooties from school, and he will be rejoining us next week. Kay Asante, I know that you're listening, brother. We hope that you feel better real soon. Right now, he sounds like a frog, which is not good, and that's certainly not good for podcasting. His our good brother, Everborn Saga, he will be joining us. He's had to pick up his daughter from school, so obviously, this is a family first podcast. He will get him in on the back end. And Tempest Son is enjoying his 10th anniversary with his lovely wife. Congratulations! Hopefully, that you have a great anniversary out. Wherever you go, a nice dinner. And let's get into the introductions. I'm going to start with someone that has making his first appearance ever on a Double Barrel Gaming Network show, making his first appearance here tonight. He's known on Twitter as Drawn TJ. Hey, brother, welcome to the program. How the heck are you?
I'm doing good, Bim. I appreciate it, and it's really awesome to be on your show.
Well, it's great to have you, TJ, and we're going to get into some of the bigger topics. And glad that you are, everything worked out last week. He was supposed to jump on with us. He had a couple of PC issues. He got that rectified, and he's here to make his debut on Primetime Gaming. Next up, we're going to get the best beard in the business. You know him as the Wandering Dutch, a.k.a. Controller Custom Extraordinaire. What's up, brother? How the heck are you? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm really good. It's great to see everybody in chat. How you doing? Kiasanti, I see you there, brother. I hope Kermit the Frog's doing well. Some cool topics this evening. Really looking forward to getting into it. Of course, Everborn will be joining us shortly. And great to be on with Drone TJ for the first time. Hope you enjoy it, brother. And this is the first of many for yourself. Not just on this show, but on other podcasts. But enjoy, brother. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we have some great topics. And of course, if you want to know what those topics are, as we wait for the people to file on in, we're going to be talking about Kena, Bridge of Spirits. And folks, there's some controversy. No review copies. Embargo lifts tomorrow morning. And guess what? There are no reviews for the game. And it launches tomorrow. Now, listen, I've been public about saying that this game is one of my most anticipated indie games of 2021. The game looks gorgeous. The newest trailer that Kay Asante dropped into our DM was incredible. It really did highlight what I think is a masterpiece. And it turns out that the studio that's making this game, their history is in animation, and obviously it shows. But let's just hope that listen, again, we're going to get into it, but in the past, when a game does not have any review copies and embargoes lift day of release, it's always, a little sketchy. But, again, time is only going to tell. But listen, let's continue with the introductions. You know him as the loudest man from this side of Canada. Please welcome middle-aged game guy. What's up, brother? How you feeling?
I am feeling awesome. I'm excited to be here tonight. It's Monday night. You know that means it's prime time gaming night. So we got a great panel. We got a great guest tonight, TJ. TJ, welcome to the jungle, baby. We're going to do it up tonight. We got some great topics tonight. Mag. And apparently someone in the chat already says Mag has haters. Fantastic. I love it. Bring them on. Let's have a great show, guys.
It's going to bask in their tears.
Yeah, yes. The salty tears of the hateness of it all.
Love it. Shout out to the 3 thumbs down, by the way.
Yeah, listen. I'll take 10 thumbs down. It's perfectly fine. I like it. I like trying to outdo the haters of the world. But listen, folks, as we wait for Everborn Saga and potentially Cybernox to join us, before we get into some of the topics, because obviously we're waiting for people to file in. We already have 100 people here, which is dope. You're going to get 2 hours of incredible Titanfall footage. It's one of the biggest topics, one of the big topics of tonight. That GeForce leak that happened that, really kind of pulled the curtain back from a lot of games that weren't even announced yet. Titanfall 3 being one of them. And Boom is happy because it's my favorite game of last
I'm excited
gen.
for that.
Dude, let me tell you something. Maybe it's the 80s kids in me that always loved Robotech and Transformers, right?
Mech
And
Assault.
make Mech Assault, and there's so many games that just drive me to want to jump into a mech, pilot, and just punch people and disintegrate human beings, like I just did. I just literally disintegrated somebody with a punch of the Titan. So the fact that we could potentially get a sequel to one of my favorite games, as you see, I just punched that guy, that prick that jumped on the back of my Titan. But listen, let's start off with something that we don't do often, right? Normally we're just head first right into it. What have we been playing? And we'll start first with our guest, TJ. What have you been playing, man? What has been occupying your time?
Well, after work, I usually play a little bit of Halo, or I play a little bit of Call of Duty. I've been playing the new Vanguard. I do not support what Activision's been doing. I think they need to be disciplined, and they actually need to change their higher ups, because what they're doing is wrong. But I still like the game regardless. Yeah, am I a little bit mad because I have morals, but at the same time, this game is as close as I can remember to a good Call of Duty, and it looks like World at War 2.0.
Okay.
It's really fun, actually. It's actually the best one I've played in a long time.
All right. I mean, listen. Look. My Double Barrel Gaming's opinion, or Double Barrel Gaming's opinion. I have gone on record as saying that I'm not supporting Activision in any way, shape, or form. That's me. I no hate or shame for anyone else that wants to play their games. I know that there's an argument to be said about, well, not everyone is responsible. It's a select few, and you really can't put everybody under an umbrella. And I absolutely believe that. That is, this is not shots at the developers, but for me, knowing someone like Bobby Kotick, whose salary last year was more than some a million people put together, was just is gross. And
That is gross.
Him and his stockholders are going to obviously reap the rewards of me potentially purchasing a game. And obviously anyone that suggests for a second that he didn't know what was going on is either lying or just plain out silly, because you're the head of this conglomerate that's huge, and if you don't know what's going on, then you're not a good leader, and you deserve to be removed as leader. But I don't want to get into that, because that is a deep rabbit hole. But I'm glad that's what you're enjoying. Dutch, you and I were talking before we went live. I kind of know what you're playing, but tell the people, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've finished off. Not only did I finish off, I started and finished off The Artful Escape in over 2 nights. Absolutely tremendous game. It's more of an experience than it is a game itself.
Yes.
But it's one that everyone really needs to experience. And if you like a good story, it's a coming of age, kind of finding out who you really are kind of story. Trying to kind of find out more about yourself, and basically trying to kind of get out of the shadow of somebody that's kind of older than you. But absolutely amazing. The music on it is insane. The art style is beautiful. The nice simplistic platforming reminds me of kind of old school Rayman. Really, it is pretty basic, but again, it's more of an experience than a game. And just under, I think it's 3.5 to 4 hours. It is well worth your time.
It's not a long game.
No, but it's absolutely well worth it, and it's, like I say, it's great fun. For all the achievement hunters out there, it's a really easy 1,000 gamer score. So get on it, experience it, enjoy it, put some headphones on and relax, because that is a brilliant little indie title. And well deserving, again, another shout for Game of the Year in some circumstances, because it's got everything really going for it in terms of an experience. And of course, just ends up expanding the medium a bit more. Aside from that, finished off Psychonauts 2. I'm just about to kind of dig into mopping up the achievements, but again, and so far my personal game of the year is Psychonauts 2. Absolutely outstanding game from start to finish. Absolutely loved the gameplay, loved the characters, loved the stories, all the different kind of both adult storylines, as well as stories that kind of anybody can really connect to, whether it's to do with sexuality and diversity in that sense, whether it's to do with addictions to things like gambling.
Yes.
It's literally anything and everything. Well, gambling and alcoholism, really, it's kind of coupled into one. But it's literally everything covered, but it's done with such tact and such well-written storyline and characters and acting and everything in between that it's absolutely outstanding. And again, if you haven't already started it, I absolutely implore you to get on it. It's definitely my game of the year so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to love about the game. This is a platformer from Tim Schafer, an amazing team at Double Fine. I have a strong suspicion, Dutch, that this is not only going to be nominated, but I honestly believe in a lot of circles, even the Game Awards circles, that this could be one of those games that actually walks away with the game. And I would be nothing. I mean, the story behind it on how this was crowd-funded, right? This is when you crowd-fund a game, you're basically saying that your company needs to help from the public in order to produce this game, and they were able to get it. But I love the story that has been told specifically by Tim regarding what it meant for Microsoft to pick them up. Everyone thinks that it's the big bad corporation, but they have saved many of studios that could potentially no longer be with us. Ninja Theory is another one that was on death's door, so to speak. And you know what? It's everyone, like I said, everyone talk acquisitions, but it was important, and I'm glad that these studios are here. So that's a great
100%. And what I was going to say as well is like if this is what Tim can do starting off in terms of stories and writing and everything like that, if this is what Tim could do starting off on a shoestring budget and then finishing off his development cycle with the backing of Microsoft, if the quality that is turned out in Psychonauts 2 is anything to speak for the tail end of it, and I know that he ended up bringing much more back into the game that he had to cut out originally, thanks to Microsoft. If that is what he is capable of when he's got the backing of a company, then I am really looking forward to seeing what he can produce going forward, because that is some talented writing.
Yeah, 100%. Let's welcome into the show Everborn Saga, who, if you don't know, he's got some gear. He's wearing his T-shirt, and not only he's going to be at Comic-Con 2021. He's got a table there. Everborn Saga, what's up, brother? How you been? Welcome back.
What's happening, man? I'm just fresh off of watching all the hypocrisy.
I love it.
How's everybody doing?
I just love,
How you doing?
Again, this is where you dive in and out of spaces on a regular basis.
It's the new reality TV. I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty much.
You kind of just hop in and then say, "Wow."
Yes. It is. We're going to get to the WoW momentarily. Let's get to middle-aged game guy. What have you been playing, brother? I know you've been knocking games down left and right. I'm sure your list is as long as your arm.
Yeah. As I think I showed you guys earlier, I think the last week or so, I got my 1,000 out of 1,000 on Psychonauts 2. My personal game of the year.
Nice.
At the same time, I was working on the Borderlands 3 Complete Edition with all the
Good
DLC.
on you for that, because no thanks.
Dude, it was crazy. I got the full 2175 out of 2175 achievements on that game. That was a job. But it was, you know what? I love Borderlands, so it's just my thing. So I did that, finished that. I played The Artful Escape. I finished that. Yeah, it was kind of like a mind trip that, like, of acid that I don't remember dropping. I was just like, what the hell just happened? But anyways, it was a great experience. And you know what? I got to say this, just to be that guy, okay, for a second here. If it wasn't for Game Pass, I never would have played it. And I never would have realized it. I never would have played Raji. I don't even think I would have dished out money for Psychonauts 2 until it came on sale. Because I didn't
was another one that's
great games I did, right? So now I'm moving over to the PlayStation 5. However, I'm right now I balked on Deathloop because I keep getting conflicting reports. I have some people saying, yeah, it's great, you gotta play it. And I'm like, awesome. And then I have other people that say, you can wait. And I'm like, that doesn't sound very convincing. And they're like, I give it like a 7. And I'm like, well, okay. So I'm kind of holding off on that because at some point we're going to get it on Game Pass. So I'm like, you know what? This game coming up, I'm really looking forward to, which we're obviously going to get to it in the show. I want to get some platinums now, okay? So I don't look like a fraud. So I got to get some more platinums on the PS5. So I'm going to be going for Kina tomorrow. But however, we're going to get into that later in the show. So that's what I've been doing. And also, because I didn't download by Deathloop, I downloaded, you ready for fraud talk? I've actually never played the Dishonored games. So what I did is I downloaded all 3 of them. I know there's Dishonored 1, Dishonored 2, and there's another one. I can't remember what the hell it's called. It's almost like a Uncharted Lost Legacy sort of expansion. And it's also on Game Pass. And so I downloaded all 3. And I said, let's do that. So I'm about 2 hours into the very first Dishonored Definitive Edition. And I'm playing it now, and it's quite enjoyable. It's kind of right up my alley. So that's what I've been doing. And like I said, I am very eager to see how tomorrow goes with this Kina situation, because that's my next big purchase before the October onslaught of stuff starts happening. Because then it's going to be one after another, man. We got Back 4 Blood. We got Far Cry 6, and then actually, I think that's it. Jesus. Because it was supposed to be Battlefield as well, but now that's November, and Call of Duty I'm not buying. Just no interest whatsoever this year. Next year, that's a whole other story from what we're hearing, what that's going to be like. And then that's it. And then Halo in then December. So we're good, man. We're good.
Yeah, no, we're going to. So, yeah, we have a lot to play. Like I said, I have so much to play that I just can't finish games. It's ridiculous. Everyone Saga, what you been up to, brother? What has been taking your time in gaming?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question. But before I answer that question, I just have to address Mag.
Oh, yeah.
And I have 2 questions for you. First is, do you sleep?
Yes.
And if you do you actually have a job? How do you play all these games?
I'm very focused
to completion.
I'm very focused, and I know it sounds nuts, but I actually treat it like a job. I swear to God, I sit down. Nobody bothers me. Everybody's in bed by 8 o'clock because my wife works at 3 a.m. So everybody's asleep. I go downstairs. I set up my little, I call it my laboratory. I got like a pen and paper down there just in case I have to write stuff down. I got my phone there in case there's something I got to look up or whatever or like, you know what, is there a bug in this? And I look it up and then like turns out there is or whatever. And there's workarounds. So I keep everything there and I go down and I just focus. But the thing is, in all seriousness though, I do have anxiety issues and I exercise a lot. That helps with that, obviously, but video games helps with that a lot too. Yeah. And when I get lost in there, you could stand next to me talking to me and I don't hear a damn word you're saying. Like, wow. I am locked in there. And my goal is I read all the achievements and I have them in the back of my head. And then one by one, I start banging them all out. I'll play through the story, go back, and then I start mopping up. Another game I'm playing right now is Origami 2, by the way. That's a lot of fun.
Which is really cool.
See, it's funny you said, like, you can tune everybody out when you play. Yes. Because whenever I play while everyone's awake, that is the time everyone comes to talk to me.
See, I don't do that. I can't do it. Everybody's asleep at 8.
I wait. All my gaming is done late now. But anyway, one last thing that's very important, and I don't want to miss this in the show. That's why I'm saying it now. I think what you said about Game Pass is super important, and not to sound like a commercial or a broken record. You would think that as gamers, as we like to consider ourselves, that we would appreciate something that affords us the sort of ability to try things or lessens the barrier to try out new experience. You would think as gamers, we wouldn't kind of want to be fed the same thing over and over again. We would want new, interesting experiences, but it seems like a lot of people, this is because I'm in those spaces all the time, shy away from those things, and that's unfortunate. Now, what I am playing currently is 3 games, trying to pick which one I'm going to continue with. So, Scarlet Nexus, because I didn't like the demo, so I kind of boycotted it at launch, but then it went on sale, and I was like, $30, I can take a chance now. But I hadn't played it. It was just in the backlog. But then I finished Psychonauts 2 last week. So I was looking for something new to start. And I have been playing The Art of Escape, but only on xCloud in bed at night before I go to sleep. It's actually very, relaxing. But Scarlet Nexus, and then I got talked into getting Tales of Arise, and they're two kind of anime-based games. So I'm playing both of those, and because I am a fraud, I bought Sonic Colors, and I'm playing that as well. And I'm trying to choose which one I'm going to continue with. So between those three, Scarlet Nexus, Tales of Arise, and Sonic Colors. Right now, Sonic Colors is in last place. But
yeah, I was going to say, like, Scarlet Nexus is about 25 hours, so you probably get through it.
So Asante, let me get this straight. So, sorry, Asante, Everborn. Asante sounds like a frog, and you sound like a fraud. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's usually how it works.
I just want to make sure I got my story straight.
And the last thing is to just confuse matters more. I am planning on getting Kena tomorrow. Kena, however you say it. Yeah. And the reason I started those games is because I was trying to buy time until Kena came out. But that is the one that I'm gonna finish and then come back to one of these while I wait, because I actually don't care about Back 4 Blood or Far Cry 6, believe it or not. Just not my style.
All right. Well, it's funny. We're gonna segue right into Kena. Listen, folks. Like I was saying in the opening, Kena, personally, one of Boom's most anticipated games. It looks like a Pixar film. It's telling a story. It gave me a lot of Cameo vibes.
Yes.
You know what Cameo is? It is a launch title from Rare, from the Xbox 360.
Cameo's another IP that Xbox refuses to bring back.
The game, if you've never played it, it's obviously back compat. Its game is old. It was a launch title for the Xbox 360, but it was a masterpiece, man. We're Rare at their just absolute finest. That is what Kena reminds me of. But I want to get into some of the controversy surrounding this game. Now, obviously, the launch is tomorrow. The embargo is officially lifts. I think you were saying that in your neck of the woods, Wandering Dutch, it was like 9 minutes and something seconds when we were in the green room.
Yep.
Here's where the controversy is. Folks, this is a game that has received little to no help from Sony. Again, is it shocking? No. Dutch, I want to go to you first on this because you did some really cool background stuff. And I want you to paint a picture of why Sony doesn't care about indies, and it's disgusting. Even when they're exclusive, which is shocking to me. Why don't you break down why we should have some concerns about Kena, and what were some of the things you were talking about regarding Sony's support on this game?
Yeah, so first of all, of course, you can go back a couple of months ago, and obviously the head of Sony at the time was really, and it's public knowledge, but they stated that they're focusing primarily on AAA experiences, big, couple of $100 million AAA experiences, and that's their focus. Not really focused on these indie experiences, and I don't think that was primarily on the development of them, but by the looks of things now, it's more on the pushing this stuff to the forefront in terms of advertising. Now, you get to modern day now, Kena, which is, or should we say, has been, since its original kind of unveiling and announcement, probably the most anticipated indie title that's been on PlayStation for quite some time.
That and Sifu, or Saifu.
Yeah. And Saifu, yeah. But even then, if you have a look at both of those companies are doing their own advertisements, own pushing of their content, really trying to kind of enforce their own stuff on the community to try and put their game out. In the last 3 weeks, there has been only 5 tweets by the official PlayStation account regarding Kena.
Wow.
None of them have said go and pre-order this game now. None of them have put kind of store links to the game. They've put little blurbs up or a little GIF image just saying coming out X date. But that's it. They're not actually pushing people. They're not really asking people to go and get it or support it. They're just kind of just basic tweets. And it is really not, it's not being pushed at all by the account. It's quite worrying, to be honest, and I feel sorry for Ember Lab because that game really does look special. Now, on the back end of that problem we've got, and this is, I don't know whether or not this has got anything to do with Sony, but I would imagine it would do with them kind of helping to get this game out in the first place. But there is also the severe lack of review copies, and this is across the board.
Yes.
We've had a number of different platforms that have come out and said, well, we haven't received the review copy yet. We don't know anybody that's received the review copy. I've now seen this evening from one of the reviewers that he will have a review up in around about, I think he said 6 hours or so. He'll finish that review. But he's only just started that like 6 hours prior. So
wow.
it shows how late to the game people are getting this particular title. And the game is technically out now, which is obscene. Like it's went now there. Now Metacritic has now changed there to available now.
Wow.
So the game is out. The game is there. Of course, UK it's midnight, just after midnight now. So the game is out, and there is 0 critical reviews on there. There is nothing in terms of advertisements. Like even if you have a look now on Twitter, there is nothing from PlayStation regarding Kena. They kind of just glossed over it. You've got a more recent post from Kena was 10 hours ago. First look at photo mode in Kena Bridge of Spirits. Strike a pose when it releases tomorrow. That was it. And then straight after that, they released something to do with Battle for the Grid Season 4 Power Rangers. Then they talked about Sonic. Then they talked about football. Then they talked about Sackboy. And then Deathloop. So, like, they're just completely. It's just he has just a fling away tweet. Like, this is just throw away. Like, that's not how you advertise a game, especially a game that you would assume. And by the looks of it, it looks like an absolutely stunning game. Really well done. Very intriguing. Probably one of the biggest. It probably would have been up for one of the biggest releases on PlayStation this year in terms of indie titles. And in a pandemic area where some of the larger AAA studios are struggling to get their games out in time due to their size of workforce and trying to coordinate them all, these indie studios and indie developers are really keeping this genre and this particular medium going. And they have done such a great job over the last 12 to 24 months at pushing out some amazing experiences. In my opinion, you need to treat the indies better and not just cast them aside like there's some afterthought. Yeah, and the way that it looks like PlayStation is doing it now is it's kind of like it's an afterthought. It's like, yeah, Kena's coming out. Who cares?
Yeah, you know what? It's I got to tell you, folks. Look, we're not choosing sides here, right? I know that on this particular program, we have been a little bullish about calling Sony out, and I'm not ashamed to do it. When Microsoft drops the ball, right here, brother, I'm giving them the business because they dropped the ball. But this is another slap to the face of the indie community when you have a game, and you know what, middle-aged gamer guy. I want to go to you next on this because you said something super interesting. TJ will back end you as soon as Mag is done. You said something. You said, listen, I'm not trying to be an a-hole here, but please repeat what you said. Now, considering Sony's holiday, that's it. There's nothing, folks. Please take it away, Mag.
Yeah, well, we talked about it before the show started. We were in the green room in the back, and it kind of came to me, and I said, because Dutch was talking about exactly what he's talking about right now. He just kind of brought it up. And now to piggyback off what he was just saying, like, they don't seem to be pushing it. The strange thing to me is if you've got nothing coming from now until February, wouldn't you be pushing the hell out of this?
You would think, yeah.
Because Deathloop's already been out a week or whatever, right? And so, like, people are playing it. I know a lot of people have already finished it. We know a lot of people in the community have already finished it, whatever, right? Fine. So people are looking for the next thing. You would think that, like, I mean, if they had, like, I don't know, let's say God of War Ragnarok coming out in November, they could say, you know what? That's fine, whatever. Kena's going to do what it does. If it does lukewarm, that's fine, whatever. We got Ragnarok coming in November, so it's all good. However, they don't. They don't have anything. Nothing. Your competition, on the other hand, has got 5 AAA games coming.
Yep.
5. Okay, not all of them are Microsoft first party studio. I'm including in there like Back for Blood. They're still saying that Crossfire X is coming out this year, the campaign. I don't know when. You know, Halo. I don't have to rhyme them all off. Halo, Forza, the whole 9 yards.
It's going to be in your stocking for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
Well,
Right?
the thing is with Crossfire as well, as they mentioned it in their shareholder report, so it's a case of they essentially have to release that game now. They've said it's releasing to the shareholders.
Okay. So there you go. So they have a bunch. So you would think that from a strategist would look at this situation and say, all right, guys, we got nothing. So we got to push the hell out of this. But they don't seem to be pushing a hell of a lot of anything. I've been scouring, by the way, right now online and looking around to seeing what to back up what Dutch is saying. Is that like the Sony's not pushing it? They're not. The only people that are actually pushing it is Ember Studios.
Yeah,
they're pushing the hell out of it with hashtag indie developer, hashtag this and that and the other thing, and whatever. But it's them that's trying to push the game. I'm in day one as long as the game is good, obviously. Now, I sent you guys something else. I think it was fake, but it was just something that had just kind of popped up. Some guy said there was a leaked review from IGN, and they gave it a 4 out of 10. And I sent it to you guys. But the thing is, here's the thing. This is where it was a bit of a giveaway, is that the template was a template that IGN used like 5 years ago for their reviews. Right. Not the template they use now. Like, when you scroll down to the very bottom of the review and it has like the little template and the breakdown of the review. Well, they haven't used this one in like 5 years. So I'm like, dude, come on, man. I don't understand anybody who's trying to sandbag this game. Like, what is the purpose behind that? I don't understand that. The game, Ember Studios itself, by the way, if anybody didn't know in the chat, I know the guys know on the panel know, is that Ember Studios is actually an animation studio.
Yes, they have that in their DNA, 100%.
Yes, they were not a gaming studio. They were an animation studio. Hence, the fact that the game looks so stunning that you're like, how can an indie developer do this? Well, it's basically Pixar, right? And so they were doing that, but someone suggested to them years ago, said, why don't you guys turn this into a game? This looks like something that could be a game. And they did. And the thing is that's remarkable to me is, A, they pulled it off. The second thing is that, to me, it's my kind of adventure game. There's climbing. There's, shimmying on rocks and like Tomb Raider style, you know what I mean? Yeah. And on top of that, you have this like apparently a very endearing story, incredible graphics to look at. This to me, next to Resident Evil Village, I have to say that Kena Bridge of Spirits was my most anticipated game of 2021. So I'm super excited and super anxious. Now that Dutch mentioned, I completely forgot the time zone difference in the EU, right? And I'm like, my God, these guys have been playing it already for hours. Like at least 2 hours now almost. So it's got to be out there. So there's going to be at least some users online who are going to be typing away saying, guys, this game's fantastic. If so, I'm in day one. Obviously, I'm in day one. I'm excited to play it. So, but what I do find it a little odd that Sony doesn't seem to be pushing it very hard. And I know that this may be an unpopular opinion, but I know that some of us are a little bit like-minded in this respect, is that Sony seems to use indies and abuse indies when they have nothing coming. When they got nothing going on, they're like, oh, you guys are the best. And then as soon as they got like a Horizon coming out, they go like this with their foot. They're like, all right, get the hell out of here. And they kick them out the door. There's no and they've done it.
It's very unfortunate that it's that blatant. You know what shocks me, Mag?
Yeah.
How many indie games does Sony seem to get that Xbox doesn't? When you see this kind of blatant disregard for their well-being, so to speak, if you're an indie studio, whether you're 2 people or 20, and I get it that the user base has 114.2. I get that.
Yeah,
I totally get that, but it seems as if more indies have chosen PlayStation simply because of the number, but then you hear these horror stories that they can't get a handler. The his email is invalid. They can't get in touch with someone. They're speaking to bots. They're not getting any help for problems that they're having. It's if you are an indie developer and you somehow are watching this show, which that would be kind of dope, don't go to PlayStation to launch a game because they don't help you, and that is sad.
And don't forget, remember, I think it was a topic on this show about what, like 6 weeks ago, when we talked about how they make these indie developers pony up, like, no pun intended, like $25,000 to feature their game on their store, just to get a tile to show up. And I'm like, come on, guys, these guys are working out of their homes. They're working, like, you know what I mean, like shoestring budgets here. These guys are trying to make it, and like, how can these guys turn into the next Naughty Dog? How could they turn into the next, Coalition, whatever, if you don't give them a shot? You got to give them a shot.
Yeah.
It's like a dude walking into the studio with a mixtape, in like 1994, and then that guy turns out to be Jay-Z.
You never
know
know.
what I'm saying? Like, you got to give him a chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the thing. So, anyways, I just found something now, guys. It's a website called Ultimate of Times or whatever, and he's posted the first Kena Bridge of Spirits review. And it's pretty lengthy. So he's saying that the game is about 15 to 20 hours or so. And he gave it a 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So wow, that's great. Excellent.
That's a good review.
That's the first one I've seen so far. I have seen no other reviews up yet. That's the first one to pop up.
Listen, if it's good, it's going to get my money. And
it's
folks,
a long article, too, so I don't think this guy's, like, BSing us.
Yeah, well, it makes perfect sense. And people are asking in the chat, listen, from what I was able to uncover today, and there's not a lot of information on it, because Sony, man, they lock down the info. Unlike Microsoft with exclusives, where they can't get people off stages. It's a 90-day exclusive.
PC Mag in the UK has also got, actually worldwide, has got their review up for it as well.
Nice.
What
It's supposed to be a 90-day. It's supposed to come to the Xbox in December. That is the running rumor, if you will. I could not find anything solid on it, but that's what we're hearing. 90 days.
Boom,
by the way,
slow down just a minute, because as you all were talking, I was pre-ordering this game. Are you just telling me I spent $43 when I could have got this on the Xbox in December?
Well, again,
God damn.
Play it now. Come on.
I'm going to buy it. If I like it, I'll buy it again.
No. I'm saying I would have bought it on the Xbox. I just bought Sonic Colors. I don't have a problem buying games, as you can see. What I'm saying is I would have rather got the achievements than the trophies.
Well, I mean, listen, who knows? This could come into Xbox Game Pass in December. You never know, right?
You
don't
the
got to
thing
pay
is,
anything.
there is something interesting that they're saying. They haven't officially confirmed that it's a 90-day window for the exclusivity. However, there is strange timing that they said around November or so. They didn't give it. They're not 100% sure that it's going to be coming on physical. It's going to be coming physical as well. I wonder if that's timed.
It's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe I'm trying to put two and two together that's not working out, but it seems to me that it seems a little suspect that around the same time as almost the 90-day mark, give or take, that they're going to release it physically.
Yeah, I mean, listen, only time is going to tell, but it's definitely. I'm glad that we got one review, 5 out of 5, not bad.
5 out of 5. Yeah.
Dutch said there was another review, which is kind of dope. And listen, again, only time is going to tell. Let's get TJ's opinion on this. Now, TJ, this is a game that did not have reviews before this show started. I was still buying it. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't buy it if it was a 2 out of 10. But I was telling Dutch, I'm like, I don't know if a game could actually look this good and be terrible. So I'm glad to know that at least we have one review that gave us a 5 out of 5. For you, is this something you're going to be interested in?
I'm going to wait until it comes to Xbox because I don't have a PlayStation 5. I used to be a PlayStation gamer back in the day when I first started gaming. But it looks really beautiful. It's like one of the best looking games I've seen in a long time, actually. And I might actually get it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it looks phenomenal. Honestly, it looks like a Pixar game.
It looks like a movie. It looks like an animated movie for like a Disney movie. That's what it looks like, but it's a game.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Real quick, we got to welcome in Cybernox from the Batcave.
See this ridiculousness, this tomfoolery.
Outstanding, Cyber. I'll allow this.
I will allow it.
The judge has hit the gavel.
Batman Day weekend. You know, I'm here a little late. I stayed out a little too long. You know how it is. You know, I had to celebrate my day. That's what happened.
You go with your bad self there, Cyber. And welcome from the Batcave. But Everborn, let's
Yes,
get. I
sir.
mean, listen, you just bought it on PlayStation 5. I'm buying it as soon as I'm done. I mean, I wasn't even waiting for a review. I'm just gonna go out and buy it. It seems as if it's my type of game, very similar to what Middle Age Game Guy had to say. There's a lot of platforming. It gives me those cameo vibes from back in the days. I love supporting smaller indies. I mean, do you have any concerns for the game, considering that no one got a review copy? Is that because the studio was too small?
Well, I mean, there's a few factors, right? So I often relate things to movies, and there are two reasons that movies don't give out review copies. And one is that they don't want the bad reviews to hurt opening day sales or opening weekend sales.
Right.
And that's because they sort of have lost confidence in the film. Or the other reason is it is really good. They don't have to release review copies, and there are spoilers that they don't want to get out. The trouble here is that I don't think Kena is the kind of game where you're worried about spoilers.
Right.
Yeah,
I would agree.
So this is not the movie industry. This is the games industry. So it could very well be that there are certain logistics involved with connecting. You got to have a PR department to do all of that stuff, and you have to connect with all of these outlets to be able to give them the codes. And should Sony have helped with that? Probably. But if it is on the studio and they're a small studio, maybe they just didn't have that marketing infrastructure in place for that. Now, I will say though, before I'm not saying discrediting anything that has been said already, but I do feel like Kena, I'm never going to be able to say the name until I hear them say it.
You said it right
in the
first
game.
time. It's Kena.
Kena. Okay.
Yep.
So I feel like Kena has actually gotten a lot of eyeballs, and they showed it at a State of Play, and they showed it at their reveal last year, and a lot of people know about it, right? And that is not just because of Ember Labs. Like, Sony's involved with why people know about it, and people have been talking about it because there's more to us learning about a game than it simply being shown at a show once, right? There's something that keeps that conversation going. So whoever's doing it, I do feel like the game has gotten its fair share of marketing and everybody knows about it. And I'm just going by how much I hear people talking about it. Now, but my concern is back to the movie thing, that there's a reason the review codes haven't gone out. And hopefully it's just because it's a small studio and they didn't have the infrastructure to do that. But if that's not the case, it could be the review issue. And maybe Sony knows that, and they're trying to distance themselves from it in the lead up to the launch. That's why they're not tweeting about it like that, because the more they advertise it and tweet about it, that means the more it's associated with your brand.
That happened to No Man's Sky, if you remember. They distanced themselves from that game, and they basically put him in the outhouse, so to speak.
Yep.
Right, but I mean, look, as I understand, I just played No Man's Sky for the first time a couple of months ago, and it was great. But as I understand,
my brother loves No Man's Sky.
It was not great when it first came out, right? And again, I'm not saying like Sony shouldn't support these indie devs, and I think they have been treating indie devs, smaller devs. They've been sort of giving them AAA treatment in terms of placement and notoriety, because I think Fist is a small title, but it feels like a bigger one. I think like Housemarque isn't a huge team, and Returnal got treated like a huge. I mean, that's because they were buying them probably. But my point is, I think Sony has given them enough light to where we all know about it. The question is now where it will stand, and we like this game because of what we have seen in terms of the animations and things like that. And this is an animation studio, but they are not a game studio. So could it be that the game looks beautiful, but because this is their first game project, maybe it's actually not a very good game, right? You know, pretty girl, bad personality kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
only time is going to tell. I mean, we're both.
So I mean, listen,
so.
Listen. They've done enough to sell me on it that I bought it, review unread. So
yeah,
and listen. At the end of the day, even if it's not like, you know, an 80 meta or 80 from whoever you trust, because I know like meta gets dicey. At the end of the day, they didn't gouge your eyes out with a $70 price tag.
That's true.
It's a 15-hour game, as that review claims, and it's $40.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I mean, the price also kind of worries me too, because if it's 40, is that because are they just like doing the right thing by the consumers, or do they not think this warrants the normal $60 or $70, including asshole tax? Right. That also kind of worries me that they're not pricing it as a AAA title, because it looks like a AAA title.
Yes.
Right. So could it be that they know that there's maybe not as much there as we think? Because some of these things can look really good, but they're more of a tech demo than they are, a fun game. But like I said, they got my money already. I think what they've shown is enough to sell me on it, and they did not try to dig in my pockets with the price. So at the end of the day, I'm still happy with the purchase, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I'll be playing it tomorrow. I'll be definitely recording it for sure. Mag, you want to add something, brother?
I just got to add something real quick, because Everborn said something very interesting about the price and about the tech. Another review came up, but it was pulled down by Bigana Official from Brazil. Your neck of the woods there, buddy. Down at the bottom there. Anyways, when he saw that people were commenting on it, he realized he released his review, so he locked his account. And apparently this guy's a big deal down there. So it's obviously
he set himself on fire.
Yeah, so he locked his account, and you can't see it. But someone screenshotted it, and he put 6 bullet points. Listen to this. Best indie he's ever produced, at least for him. Stunning visuals, fabulous soundtrack, super fluid combat and gameplay, Pixar movie level presentation. You ready for this? Absolutely brutal use of the SSD.
Oh,
interesting.
So you were talking about asshole tax? I have a feeling they put absolutely no effort into trying to make this game run better, because they probably would have been able to charge more for it.
Okay, what does brutal on the SSD mean?
Well, he locked his account, so now people are asking. I looked, and they're like, what does that mean, brutal? What do you mean by brutal, this and that? And
is it brutal like no load time, or is it brutal like...
No, probably brutal in a bad way.
Brutal means that it slows down or stutters.
Too fast.
Because it's a PS4.
It could just be, It could just be that there is little to no difference between PS4 and PS5 load times.
Right? Oh. I don't know. I'm just telling you what it said here, and he locked his account, so he's not answering questions.
That's because the Sony ninjas came after him. Listen, again, this is anecdotal, and it's from 2 reviewers I've never heard of. But that is good. Seems like we're gonna get the full package, graphics and gameplay. So I'm even more excited, which makes it even more strange that they held back the review codes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Again, we'll know the extent of it when they come out. I'm sure they'll be talking about it. Well, they'll answer questions. People are going to keep asking.
Yeah, but we'll see. I was going to say we'll see what it looks like as well when we get some of the critics that are a little bit more critical onto the game, because there's a lot of them that are like good critics but not so critical. Should we say don't do things with a fine tooth comb?
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I do, and I don't know if there's any space for this in tonight's discussion, but I do want to talk about the shift in the perceived view of reviews and the crying and complaining that we're getting these days.
Yeah,
but maybe that's a
that's
conversation
a
for another
monster
time.
topic that we can definitely maybe you'll even write it and run that
Situational
topic.
ethics at their
Yes.
best, but
Well,
we
yeah,
will.
it's quite the best way to say it is it's just the moving of the goalposts, right? We
Oh
just
yeah, like
swing back
when
and
you're
forth.
when
Yeah.
you're losing the game you created, you just change the rules.
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely. Well, we'll definitely see. Cyber, let's get you in on the conversation, then
Yes,
move
sir.
on to my favorite topic of the night, Titanfall 3. Where do you fall for Kena, Bridge of Spirits, or Kenna, as I think that's the way you pronounce it correctly? Is it something that you're going to jump in on?
Oh, absolutely. From you guys know, if you've been following me for a long time, I love indie titles. Ori. I don't even know if they would consider Ori indie title at this point, but Ori and the Will of the Wisps was probably one of my favorite games of the last year. This game, from the first time we saw it, it looked absolutely incredible. At least in my eyes, it looked great. The story behind it with the two brothers making this game, their background, it was amazing. This game, when we first saw it, like I said, I was overwhelmed by it. I was in day one. The only thing that we started hearing delays, things and like that. And the only thing that got me a little bit concerned was when we didn't see it at the showcase, at the PS5 showcase. I was just like, oh man, is this game going through another delays or something going on in the background or something of that sorts. But as we were talking about it, Kay Asante, shout out to Kay Asante to feel better, but he dropped the trailer for us today, and surprisingly it's coming out tomorrow, so I'm really excited for it. My only dilemma is I don't know if I want to get it on PC or I still only have a PS4 right now. I don't have a PS5, so I don't know if I want to grab it on PC to take like full advantage of everything that game has to offer.
I was going to say the bench,
Yeah.
the actual minimum specs for on PC are low.
Oh, I bet, yeah. So I don't know if I want to get it there so I can take full advantage of the game. From the trailer that we saw, it just looked, to me, in my eyes, it looked great. The combat looked great, animations, the fluidity, the image quality for that game, all top notch. That's my only thing. If I'm gonna get it on the PlayStation ecosystem, I'm just gonna get it on PC. Most likely PC for right now, and then I can't wait to play it. The only thing that you guys mentioned too is just no early reviews, and all these reviews seems to be locked under some kind of embargo and things like that, which is it's not concerning, but it does raise a little bit of an eyebrow, just because I do know a lot of gamers tend to wait for reviewers or people that they do trust to tell them, hey, this game is worth your money, or this game is living up to the hype X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, we're all going to try the games that we want to try anyway. But I do know a lot of even a lot of friends of mine, they'll wait for their preferred reviewer, and then once they see that, hey, this game is quality or does have the potential to become even something better, they'll go ahead and pull the trigger. But for right now, it's just a waiting game. But I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, that makes both of us. Well, listen, folks, I want to kind of move on to the next topic, but before I do, want to thank the first super chat of the night from RNF. He drops a $2 super chat and says, "Greetings from Texas. Smash that like button, guys. Indeed, please, if you are here, let's get those likes up, folks. We got over 300 people here, which is awesome, and I'd love to see those likes match the people in the chat.
People,
that would be,
let's do it, man.
Yeah,
let's get the likes up. What are we doing here?
Let's hit that like button. Let's go.
Absolutely. Listen, I promise you, I will not send you a bill in the mail if you hit the
I
like
will.
button.
I'm sending. It's gonna be $14.95.
Yeah, you're gonna get an invoice if you don't hit that like button.
And it's gonna say SIE on there because you're gonna have to pay SIE and then keep the rest for yourself. Because that's the way Sony rolls. But
well, it is AHT.
And what does that stand for, sir?
Asshole tax.
Oh, there you go. I love it. I love it. Listen,
hey, just one thing. I just want to bring this up as it's going to be my weekly reminder until this is changed. I just bought Kano on the PS app right there in the middle of a conversation. You still cannot do this on the Xbox app.
No, you can't.
It
It's
is
actually pissing me off.
disgusting. It's terrible, and there's
It's
no
awful.
reason not to do it.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry.
It is bothersome.
It's
Yep.
kind of a disgrace. It's not that hard.
I mean, that they used to have it, and then when they changed it to the new style, it then
right, they
just
got rid of the
all you
store.
can do is download it.
I
Terrible.
remember when they changed to the new style, they even took achievements out. They took so many of the features out. They brought a lot of it back, but the store is still
Store's
something
still
that's
not
just
there. I have to go
missing.
to the website.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
I'm
can't
like,
even.
if I'm out of the house.
I can't even see the time that I've played a game on the iPhone app.
Yeah, the
Right?
app needs a monster.
The app,
revision.
the Xbox app, at least on iPhone, is like unusable. It's basically worthless. You should just go to the website, and that makes no sense. And I know that Microsoft has a lot of great iOS developers. None of it makes any sense to me. But anyway, I just needed to vent about that because we never say anything bad about Xbox.
That's right, and this is an opportunity to jump in. So yeah, listen, over at the Xbox, the Emerald Green Palace, it's not trouble free, folks. We have some concerns. Some of their the most simplistic things don't work right, and that's not good. And the app is one of them. Yeah, if you want to buy it, yeah,
DVR.
Oh my God! Yes, please.
Please.
You know what? I think we should turn this to an Xbox slander podcast.
No,
for credibility.
I have expressed my unbelievable disgust in how the DVR is, folks. Listen, I can't play with HDR on because I didn't buy the top grade
Capture card.
Yeah, I got the S Plus. I know there's an S Plus Plus.
Yeah, that's what I use as well.
Plus in there,
Tough.
and I can't use HDR. I have to hard reset, turn on my console every time in order to get the footage that you capture because I don't capture it direct from the PC. I don't have a monster rig. It should work. And with Sony's, listen, again, this is not to pile on the rabbit, so to speak, but Sony's PlayStation 5 does it super easy. I got a thumb drive, a C thumb drive. I popped it into the front, and I was recording video with this easy peasy. Bring it to my PC, drop it on there, and it's done. Microsoft, after a year, guys, figure it out, please.
TLDR, Microsoft, get your shit together.
Yes,
when it comes
please,
to this stuff.
get it together.
All right.
But,
hey, one other thing.
What's that?
I'm sorry, Boom. Prediction. Remember, you said you got a rig. Might be time for a new rig because on the 22nd is the Microsoft hardware event.
Yeah,
you know about.
I'm not buying any rigs anytime soon. My pewter is just fine.
Well,
the way it is.
Here's the reason I'm bringing that up because this is not really a tech podcast; it's a gaming podcast. What if this is a Microsoft hardware event? We're never going to get that Duo 2 and some new Surface stuff. What if we get that streaming stick unveiled?
It's possible.
So I say, everybody, keep your eye out. This is not like an insider thing. I'm just guessing that would be a good place to show it. No one has said anything to me about anything.
Yeah, well, again, this is something that we'll keep our eye to the floor, our ear to the floor, and eye to the Twitters, if you will. Real quick, shout out to Mike Shades in the chat. Says Titanfall 3. I want Titanfall. I want it. Titanfall 2 is brilliant. Obviously, yeah, that's what we're going to move on to next. Listen, folks, the GeForce leak was probably the biggest piece of news in 2021. It unveiled so many games that were in development. I honestly can't believe a leak like this happened, to be honest with you. And if you missed it, I was on this Saturday. I was with Miles Dompierre on the Windows Central Chatter Days podcast. Folks, if you don't follow Miles, you definitely got to follow him. He works for Windows Central Gaming, more specifically. He's had some heavyweights on that show. Paris Lilly, Danny Pena, Jeff Grubb, and of course people in our circles, right? Dealer Gaming, good friend of this show, Randall Thor 19, Lord Cognito, and I got to sit in the seat of giants and kings, and it was an incredible 2-hour show. It was just one-on-one style that he does, and it was a lot of fun. We got a chance to talk about our favorite. We picked one favorite from the leak, and for me, folks, it was Titanfall 3. This is no way, shape, or form an absolute confirmation from Respawn that they are working on Titanfall 3. Has been basically we've been led to understand that the next big update for Apex Legends is going to include an incredible amount of Titanfall related whatever, right? But to say that that's all we're going to get, I think would be a silly thought. Titanfall 1 was obviously an Xbox exclusive. Now, multiplayer wise, I have put well over 1,000 hours in each of the of Titanfall 1 and 2. My favorite for multiplayer was 1 because you can customize your mechs. Even though I love Legion and I love that you can design it, and the design was great, and the Gatling gun is something I like to use anyway, it worked out. But I love the fact that you could change your weapons along with your Titan in Titanfall 1. But one of the most important things that came out of Titanfall 2 was the single-player campaign. And certainly if you missed out on it, you missed out on one of the best single-player campaigns of last gen, hands down, no questions asked. It is an incredible story. And obviously, if you're someone that is subscribed to the channel, I'm always putting this back in the background because you know what? It's fast and it looks really good playing in the background. And I'm a huge Titanfall fan. Let's go to middle-aged gamer guy first on this. Yeah. Titanfall is a game that I think, or Titanfall 3 more specifically, absolutely deserves to be a thing. This is an incredible experience. It's unlike all of the other games. Like, sure, it has some Call of Duty-esque, play styles to it. But to be honest with you, dropping a mech and then crushing your enemy is just nothing like it. Do you want to see a Titanfall 3 released potentially as soon as 2022?
Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I don't think it's going to make a 2022 release because we've heard nothing. And to keep something that big under wraps for so long would be remarkable. I really can't see that happening. Now, I'm a big Titanfall fan from the first one on the Xbox One. I played the living hell out of that game, and I didn't think I was going to like it because I'm like, multiplayer only? No story? This is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this. But it really won me over. However, then Titanfall 2 came out, and I played that campaign. And holy mackerel, that campaign was something else, man. And I never thought it was even humanly possible that a relationship between a robot and a man could make me cry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh my God, this is so sad.
It was an emotional story, dude.
It was an emotional story, and they did such a great job. The only
story.
thing that I could think of that actually even came close to this, which wasn't a video game, mind you, it was that movie with Hugh Jackman and the robot, the boxing robot. I don't know if anybody saw that movie.
Real Steel.
Real Steel. That's a great film.
I'm just glad you didn't say Chappie, but go ahead.
Not Chappie. Yeah, Real Steel. That movie made me cry too. I'm like, oh my God, how is this even happening? But anyways, the point is, the campaign was remarkable. You look at the pedigree of that developer though. Look at what they got in there. They got all the guys in there who were making the best Modern Warfares, right? For Call of Duty, and of course, what a cheeky name to call themselves Respawn. And then they all left to go create their own studio, right? So of course it's going to be a lot like Call of Duty. But you know what? That's also not a bad thing, because as repetitive as Call of Duty can be and reskinning can be or whatever else, the gameplay is tight. You got to give them that. The gameplay is tight, and the guns are good, the reloading is good, all that kind of stuff. Everything else, it's and obviously it carried over to the Titanfall. Now, they made in Titanfall 2, they made the mechs a hell of a lot more involved than it was in the first one. The first one, it was almost like one of those power-ups you got every 5 minutes kind of deal. But this one, they added a hell of a lot more to it. For a Titanfall 3, on the other hand, I don't know what else they could possibly do to differentiate it from let's say the part 1 and part 2, except for just make it bigger and better, right? So either way, I think it's amazing. I'm excited for it. However, do you think you guys I'm going to ask you guys this? Do you guys think they're working on that, or do you think that they're maybe feeling some pressure from EA to work on a new Star Wars sequel because of the popularity of the
team
first
at
one?
Respawn is pretty big, dude. I mean, I would say that I think we read a story, Mag, that Jedi Fallen Order 2 was almost immediately greenlit. So they've been working on that for a while. I would imagine that we're going to see that next year. But I think Respawn is big enough. Now, remember, head of the studio is now in charge of DICE San Diego.
Right.
So he does have multiple studios under his tutelage. So, I mean, maybe the next Titanfall doesn't come from Respawn. That it comes from DICE. Because obviously that was a new studio they just put together, and I'm talking about Vince Zampella. He's the head of the studio.
Yeah, Zampella.
He has monster responsibilities within EA because, and listen, I'll say this: the change of EA has been so incredible. I'd like to believe that it was because of him. I can't say that.
You gotta be a little bit careful with EA because they tend to like look like they're doing well and then backslide.
I get it.
It's all waves. 10 years they were the worst company in America to work for, and all of a sudden, then it changed. Now they're like, now they're doing really well.
I am not giving them the benefit of the doubt until they do. Yet. Mass Effect some justice again, but we shall see.
I've got one more thing to say with what Boom was just bringing up there with Zampella working with DICE, San Diego, everything else. Now, here's the thing, though, and this is where I'm a little confused, is that if they're working on Jedi Fallen Order 2,
right?
Okay, because obviously they have to ride off the popularity of the first one. First of all, it was a huge shock to everybody that it did that well, or that the fact that the game was that good, right? Then I don't think you can have DICE working on it either, Boom, because they're all hands on deck now with Battlefield 2042.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a games as a service, so they're going to keep releasing seasons and content. I think they're going to have their hands full with Battlefield, and then on top of that, you've got Jedi Fall. So that now they're juggling. Oh, sorry, and Apex Legends.
Apex Legends, yeah, it's still.
So now they're working on Apex Legends. You got DICE working on Battlefield. You've got Respawn working on obviously Apex Legends. What the hell is it called? Damn it, I just forgot the damn name. The Star Wars game. Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Right? And then you're going to have working on Titanfall 3. I don't know, man. I don't care how big the studio is. That's a lot of work. I mean, that's like Insomniac levels of ridiculous. Where like, Insomniac can just like fall asleep and burp out a game. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. But I mean, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think I could see like a Titanfall 3 coming later down the line, perhaps like a 2024.
Well, I mean, listen,
that's just my thoughts.
No, and that's fantastic. I mean, the interesting part, at least for me, because you know what, I buy all in on. Let's sell me some hope, right? Let me know that there's a chance, and the fact that again, we don't know that these leaks are 100% sure. But the Titanfall 3, the words Titanfall 3 were in there, and that says like that we might actually get this game. Maybe we don't get it in 22. Maybe we don't get it in 23. But at some point, they got to come back to this. I mean, this is such a unique game. I mean, again, it has its Call of Duty-esque, Battlefield-esque type of run and gun combat. But when you add the mechs into the conversation, it's like Voltron. It's like Transformers. If you're an old school cat like me and you like Robotech or Macross, as it's known for some people, yes, and yes, please, Dutch. Let's get your opinion on this. Listen, again, we're not going to go over the league specifically because there's 100 games in there. And
more,
and more. The list is so monstrous that you actually would have to sit down and like read a newspaper. That's how much information is on there. Do you want to see a Titanfall 3, the franchise make a return to next gen?
No, it deserves it. It deserves it. I mean, not to add fuel to the fire here, but there was an update following the leak from NVIDIA that confirmed. So first, of course, update was from 343, Brian Gerard, who stated that they had no current plans to bring Halo 5 to PC at this time.
Yep.
He believes the Halo 5 inclusion might have had something to do with the original plans to bring Forge to PC, which was why it was on that list. NVIDIA then stated that it is aware of the recent database leak with its content used for internal tracking and testing. The company has revoked public access to that list. They've also then, and this is on Tech Radar, update, NVIDIA has issued a statement to confirm that this leak is real, but obviously unauthorized, and clarified that the inclusion of any game on it doesn't mean anything. NVIDIA told WCCF Tech, of course, NVIDIA is aware of the unauthorized published game list with both released and or speculative titles and unreleased titles used for internal tracking and testing. Inclusion of the list is neither confirmation or announcement of these games. NVIDIA took immediate action to remove them. So essentially they're saying the list and all of those lists included are placeholders. They can't confirm whether or not these games will ever see the light of day, but they are certainly games that have been put on there by the original developers at some point in time. So they're there. Whether or not they see the light of day is another thing, but it is a real leak. It is something that they have access to that they've now withdrawn from everybody's available access. So yes, the only, and this is a good thing to note as well, all of these developers would have been made aware of this GeForce Now leak. All of them. Obviously, it's public knowledge now.
Yes.
And the only developer to come out and deny anything on that list is 343.
Yep.
So there's something to take note of. In terms of Titanfall 3, yes, I hope it does come through, because it was one of the games, much like Jedi Fallen Order, that showed EA you can still have a single-player campaign and do well.
Yes.
So continue with it. Jedi Fallen Order, just like Titanfall, needs a sequel.
Yep.
100%, and it deserves it. Both of those games were absolutely tremendous. Titanfall 2's single-player campaign was one of the best of that gen. Not only that, but then they released, like I say, Jedi Fallen Order, and that was one of the best games I played as well. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And it just goes to show, if EA actually put the time in and they let these studios create these single-player campaigns properly and not just focus on the multiplayer aspect, then they can create some really memorable experiences. So, fingers crossed, it does see the light of day, and fingers crossed EA don't pull the plug on it, because we know EA can be like. But yeah, 100% deserves it. I want to see it. But yes,
well, look,
NVIDIA
I'm
confirmed.
going to say something, Dutch, that's a little taboo, and it's because it's EA. I am so desperate for a Titanfall 3 that I wouldn't mind if they made this like an Apex Legends and just a free to play service. That gives me the opportunity as a consumer that if I want to buy a mech that I like, I can buy it. It's mine. I can buy the designs, just like skins.
In terms of a single player campaign against the level that you got into,
yes,
what would that not be? Of course, then you would want more than just that.
Oh no! There's no doubt about it. And obviously, if you beat Titanfall 2, it does kind of end on a bit of a cliffhanger. So you know the door is open for a 3, and I think Vince and that team want to do it. I think we would have gotten it sooner if Apex Legends would not have been as successful as it is. They obviously had to put everybody on that because that's obviously making money hand over fist. I mean, listen, Dutch, only time is going to tell. But like you, I really do hope that we do see the full package come back because the single player, again, it's one of those games, folks. Please, by all means, if I know that everyone has a backlog as tall as me and I'm 6 feet, right? If you did not play this game, if you somehow skip Titanfall 2 single player campaign, my God, I guarantee you're going to dig it. It is so well done. TJ, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Where do you fall on Titanfall, the franchise, and because it was in the NVIDIA leak, the GeForce leak, do you think that this is basically them saying, hey, listen, cat's out the bag, Titanfall 3 coming?
Yeah, Boom. I honestly think that it is going to come out, but it's just going to be a while. Honestly, I love Titanfall. It's it feels like Mech Assault. It reminds me of Mech Assault, where you could get out of the mech, you could get in the mech.
Yes.
When you played Lone Wolf, Mech Assault Lone Wolf 2, that's what that reminds me of. I was really good at Titanfall. I love Titanfall. Loved the mechs. Loved it. Played with a lot of my friends. We had a blast playing it. And the story was great too for number 2. The first one was good, but the second one was way better. And when I heard there was no announcement of a third one, I was kind of a little bit pissed off. I was like, come on, EA, you can't kill a great game like this. I know you're about to kill Need for Speed and other games, but don't do it to this game. This game deserves a third installment. It definitely deserves it. I know Call of Duty's big. I know Battlefield's big. I know Halo's big, but Titanfall definitely deserves a chance at another part for another sequel. It deserves another installment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And let's now that Vince is running the show, so to speak, at least we know that they won't send this game out to die. Because if you remember, Titanfall 2 released in between Call of Duty and Battlefield. I mean, wow. The marketing team should have all been fired because that was
that's really bad.
Horrible play. They basically sent this game to die. And those 2 games, I didn't even bother playing that year because all I could do was play all I kept playing was Titanfall 2. But good stuff. Let's get Cybernox and we'll get Everborn Saga. And we're going to get to the big topic. Everborn, you're going to lead us off with that one because that one is something you were talking big time in the DM. And if we're talking about, folks, we're going to get these gentlemen's points. But the next topic, stick around, folks. Shawn Layton, ex-PlayStation head honcho, has made the news once again for talking about streaming services and how he believes they are basically going to fail. And I asked the question, why is he talking? Like, why are you talking? I don't get it, but we're going to get into that. Cybernox, Titanfall 3, is this a possibility? Could they have been secretly working on this? And we found out with, obviously the cat's out the bag in the NVIDIA GeForce leak. Where do you fall on a Titanfall 3?
Oh man, I would love Titanfall 3, but that list, kind of like what you mentioned, kind of like what you guys mentioned, that list was a pretty long list, man. And I know everybody's excited about Batman Arkham Knight RTX remaster on there as well. I saw that. No,
it was Batman Day on Saturday.
I know. But all seriousness, Titanfall 3 would be great. I know Titanfall 2, it got a lot of love from all of those that did play it. I thought it was a good game. It did a lot of unique things. Some of the levels, so the level design and some on Titanfall 2 was incredible. It was the first time, a little bit of a sport. I mean, it's a long game, but there's a level where you can switch back and forth between times. And
dude, it was awesome.
It was awesome. Like once you get that equipment, and you could do that, and like the characters, the NPCs are literally reacting to what you're doing. Whether you're going back and forth, they're really reacting to it, and I thought it was great. I think they can, evolve the mechs a little bit. Maybe just have a melee mech, a samurai mech, something in that nature. I haven't played Titanfall 2 in a long time, so I'm not up to date as to what updates they've done to the game. But if you haven't played it, it's, in my opinion, it is a must play. The campaign was great. It was very memorable campaign, kind of like Mag alluded to earlier. It can connect with a lot of people, and I think that's what made that game great. It had a fantastic multiplayer, but it also had a campaign that it really had an emotional connection with all the gamers. So a Titanfall 3, man, it would be great. Now, Respawn Studios or Respawn Entertainment, they got a lot to juggle,
Yeah, they do.
Everything, it seems that like everything they touch does well. They started with Titanfall 2, then a Jedi Fallen, and then Apex, obviously, and all 3 of those games that they put out have been loved by the fan base overall. So if these leaks are true, and there is something to be said about what Dutch said, right? So all these leaks have come out. They have not. NVIDIA has acknowledged the leaks, and only 343 has come out and said, yeah, maybe Halo 5 is not part of that leak, and everybody else has kept it hush hush. So it would be interesting to see when we would see Titanfall 3, since this is the first time we're hearing anything about it. I think Mag could be onto something that we probably would see this maybe late 2023, 2024, but who knows? Maybe they've been secretly developing this game, but I would absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, that makes two of us. And Everborn Saga, let's get your final opinion on this. You know, you're an anime kind of a guy. I think you have a anime called the Everborn Saga. This is very Macross or Robotech-esque. Obviously, the leak is the leak, right? And we would imagine that there are probably a lot of test names in there. I don't think if there wasn't some actual, validity to the leak, that it could have just called it a different name, a code name, but they called it Titanfall 3. Where do you fall on this actually getting a sequel?
I think if it does get a sequel, it will be more along the lines of a DLC for Apex Legends.
Mm.
And maybe that's the code name for it, because why would you because Apex is in the same Titanfall universe, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes,
right.
Correct. Yes.
So I think that's what we would see, because I feel like EA is more focused on that, and if they have Apex going, why not? That's the way you get eyeballs on that campaign, right? Is just make it a part of Apex and go in that direction. So that I don't think that they're gonna I'm just looking at EA. I don't know that they're gonna do a Titanfall 3 unless they're really gonna put the marketing behind it that is required to bring back the franchise. And it seems like they've shied away from it. But I don't know. I hope this can be believed, and not saying it can't be believed because the leak looks credible. But the question is, could the code name be indicative of something that we're not thinking about?
I mean, listen, you're 100% right. Absolutely 100% right. A lot of people in here, Scottish Smurf is breaking my heart. He's like, yeah, it's EA. They make money. Titanfall 2 tanked, so they're not getting a 3. Yeah, that was EA's fault, though.
I was going to say, what's the problem with that? Like, why did they cannibalize their own AAA game?
Because they
don't care.
They're just boobs. Look. I'm not going to run down this rabbit hole because we have a really monster topic to cover for the remainder part of the show. But see, if I were Microsoft, right? You see, if you don't know how well Titanfall 1 did as an exclusive, it sold over 10 million, and I would imagine that would probably be closer to like 12 by now. Let's just say for shits and giggles, 10 million of anything is big, right? And it sold 10 million copies, which is bananas on a multiplayer only game. PS, by the way, if I'm Microsoft, we've seen it. Make a deal with EA. Pay some bucks. Help them pay for this game and make a Titanfall 3 exclusive. I don't know. Listen, again, rabbit hole. I don't want to go down it, but listen, folks, it's Titanfall 3 has to happen for a lot of reasons. I honestly hope selfishly that it does. It's one of my favorite franchises, new IPs of last gen, right there with Destiny and The Division. Those are, I don't play Destiny anymore. I'm just so far behind, but the Division 1 and 2, as well as Titanfall 1 and 2, some of my favorite gaming moments of last gen. And I'm hoping that those make a return, both franchises for that matter. But I got to get to the last monster topic. And of course, folks, we're talking Shawn Layton. Now, if you don't know who he is, Shawn Layton is and was the head of PlayStation. And unfortunately, he took a very quick exit stage left out of nowhere, where he was replaced ultimately by Jim Ryan, or Jim Dance Moves Ryan, made very popular by King David of the Iron Lords podcast. But he has in the past come out and been talking specifically on streaming services. And he has once again come out to speak specifically about Xbox Game Pass. And, we have a DM that we talk to each other almost every day. I'm talking about everybody on the panel. We're there every day. But, the question is, why is he talking? Like, I don't understand, but we're going to get into it. Now, in an interview with GameIndustry.biz on July 27th, he had some significant things to say about Xbox Game Pass. And here are those quotes, folks. According to Layton, services like Game Pass are unsustainable due to the cost of development, claiming that releasing blockbuster titles via a subscription model would require a ridiculous amount of subscribers to in turn earn money on the back end. And here's an exact quote, or several quotes from Shawn. It's very hard to launch a $120 million game on a subscription service charging $10 a month. You pencil it out. You're gonna have it. You're gonna have to have 500 million subscribers before you start to recoup your investment.
Wait, no, that was you flubbed, right? He didn't say 500 million, did he? He couldn't have said that.
He said, I literally am reading from the article. He said 500 million subscribers.
Yeah,
500. Okay.
All right.
Please continue.
That's not a typo. He actually said that. He also said this. That's why right now you need to take a loss-leading position and try to grow that base. And he continues, if you can find a way to get that content into people's homes without a box, then yes, indeed. Everyone has a streaming solution of some form. Most of it is limited by whether you have a decent internet connection, and they haven't constructed the business model that works yet for that. Now, that is what he said last year in the GameIndustry.biz July 27th interview. Well, he's back again. And this is what he said on Twitter. He says this, and I quote, "This is a bit old, but the truth remains the same. Turning a profit with an entertainment streaming service platform is extremely hard and complicated, not to mention the drastic reduction in revenue for creators, not judging, just typing." Okay.
It kind of sounds like you're judging, though.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm going to say this. At this point, folks and panel, I think we can publicly admit that he has, in multiple attempts, taken some sly punches at Microsoft's Game Pass. But, obviously, it's his opinion. He's entitled to it. Obviously, and I'm not, this is going to sound a little dickish, and pardon me if I do, he doesn't have a job in the industry anymore. He was cut loose. Now, we don't know why he was cut loose from SIE and from PlayStation, which was one of the highest positions in PlayStation, for that matter, to make room for Jim Ryan and his new crew. He literally vanished from the face of the earth like Jimmy Hoffa. Thankfully, he's still alive, though. And he came out and he's been, going out there, and he's become a talking head. Everborn, I got to go to you first on this. Why is he taking these shots at Xbox Game Pass, and why are we still having this conversation on how Xbox is the empire, and no one that puts a game on their service is getting any money? Why do we keep chasing this story?
Well, I actually have quite a few things to say here. So, you did point out that Shawn can't count Layton is no longer in the gaming industry.
That is absolutely correct.
Did you not? So are we taking game industry advice from somebody who got kicked out of the industry? Is that what we're doing this evening?
I would say nay.
Okay, so here's the thing. I just want to, and it's funny when certain groups choose what they are going to listen to from him, right? Yes. Because there have been these shots about, subscription services, and it is all the rave, like you said, to say that the company that is also at the same time in last place going to ruin the industry with the subscription model. The thing is, He also said, which no one pays attention to, that the model of long development cycle, multi-$100 million budget AAA games is not sustainable either. But no one paid attention to him then, because that is Sony's current, or Jim Dance Move's current whole model.
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yes.
So are we listening to his wisdom then, or are we going to listen to his wisdom now with the subscription thing? Because again, I just find it funny how people choose what they're going to listen to and when. Now, the other thing is, with his 500 million comment, aside from the fact that none of it makes sense, I just want to demonstrate that even with half of his 500 million, which is ridiculous, 250 million subscribers that you'd need, right? And even if we average out, as a matter of fact, let's go with 200 million, right?
Yeah.
So 2/5 of his argument, you would have $24 billion in revenue a year, which is $2 billion in revenue a month. If we're saying Game Pass is $10, where mostly Game Pass is $15, but there are $10 options, so I'm going to give us the benefit of the doubt because there's a lot of math trouble people here. So we have $24 billion in revenue just from the subscription model before you count microtransactions and direct sales through Steam and people who are not subscribed. So with only 20 million people, you would have all the revenue that Sony made last year, because they made 25 billion.
Yes.
Right? So just to match Sony's current revenue, they would only need 200 million. But why stop there? Right? All of in the Spotify article that he points to, he leaves out that Spotify has a free option.
Yes, she certainly
right?
does. Yes.
And then he also completely ignores, again, like I said, the direct sale models through non-subscribers. He ignores licensing that you can make. He also ignores, again, being available on Steam. And he mentioned it before, but there is already a streaming option for the service where you don't need a device. So again, anyone looking at this as a gotcha moment, or see Shawn Layton, the guy who got kicked out of the industry, this is what he thinks is right. Perhaps there's a reason he got kicked out of Sony.
I mean, listen,
so again,
you make some great points. Kay Asante, friend of all of us, and recovering from the cooties, he says that maybe he's trying to get a job with Dance Moves. I mean, I don't think.
I mean, tell us you're trying to get your job back without telling us you're trying to get your job back. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look. All I can say is that I got to be upfront. Like, I really dig Layton. I love Shawn's energy. I thought that when he left or abruptly was asked to leave PlayStation, it was a monster loss. Simply because of his
Boom. I super apologize. There's one more point in my bullet point that I left out. So that's how I just proved that his math was wrong with 500. So
yes,
and
he said 500 million.
Right. So now let's just go with 1/5 of his argument. Right. At 1/5 of his argument, and I'll be generous to Game Pass this time. Let's say we went with the $15 a month because that's what it costs. Right. You have 18 billion in revenue. Right. So, and if you look at that, you have basically $1.5 billion per month in revenue at $15 a month with 100 million subscribers, which is, I think, a realistic number to think that Game Pass could get to. Do we all agree, or am I being too generous?
No.
Yep.
Okay, I agree. So that's reasonable.
100 million gives you $1.5 billion every month. Now, let's look at.
And that's only at $10, correct?
No, that's at $15.
Oh,
it's $12 billion is 12 billion, but we could go with 12 billion. Why not? We got $1 billion a month. $10, even though that's not the price, but I want to give Shawn the benefit of the doubt. 100 million subs, $10 a month, $1 billion, $10 billion a year, $1 billion a month in revenue. Now, you could fund, let's just say all these games cost 200 million, which they don't. You could fund God of War.
Yep.
You could fund Spider-Man.
Yep.
You could fund Wolverine. You could fund Horizon Forbidden West. And you could fund another Ghost of Tsushima. All at $200 million each.
And
that's 1 month.
And that's just on 1
month's worth of revenue would fund 5 of your biggest games, not even counting direct sales, licensing, and sales on other platforms.
Or DLC.
Or DLC. And director's cuts.
Yeah, and director's cuts. And asshole tags.
And remakes and remasters. And
so again, we can bring up the Netflix model, Sergi24, but Netflix doesn't also sell you the movies or have microtransactions within the movies. So it's not that analogous.
Yeah, listen, I know we call it the Netflix of gaming, but there is no one-to-one comparison because of the amount of extras that are in the conversation. I'll put it to this way. I got to bring this up, and I'm going to get to Dutch next on this. And then now I'm going to let you go crazy. I got to stretch because I feel like I'm going to get a camel clutch in a second. I got to... now, obviously, Matty Plays. Anyone knows who Matty Plays is. He is one half of Defining Duke, right? The other half is my brother. That's right. Cognito, Lord Cognito, is a part of Defining Duke. He got someone went at Matty Plays directly, and I'm not going to read the guy's name. He obviously has a Spider-Man logo. He's got some other PlayStation stuff, so we know where this is coming from. I don't want to put anybody under a bus, so I won't say the person's name.
He's one of those guys.
He's one of those guys, but I'm going to read the quote, folks, and I'm going to hand it over to Dutch after I'm done because I want you to attack this, Dutch, from both perspectives. Let's talk about Shawn and get this stupidity quote. I wonder, now I quote, I'm reading directly from his Twitter account. I wonder what developers think about this mindset from most Xbox fans. How are they going to deal with a fan base that refuses to buy stuff? You'd think that after witnessing countless flops on Xbox, real fans would start to spend some money on the platform. Guess not. Wow. Okay, Dutch, that is a lot to take in from one dumb MF. Let me just say that. But listen, please comment on that. But let's get the main crux of the conversation is why does Shawn continue to talk? You had some really great points in the DM. Please, by all means, take it away.
Yeah, certainly. So first and foremost on that silly comment, because obviously he doesn't like to see the statistics or the facts surrounding it, but continuously over the last few months, Microsoft have said, well, listen, and not only Microsoft, but other developers as well have said, well, listen, it's actually quite the opposite. Like, it's proven that being in Game Pass has increased activity for these games, increased player base, and in turn, then increased sales. So, and this goes for small, medium, and large games, including, and believe it or not, including Square Enix, even though they didn't pay the royalties to Outriders, that game actually did outperform what they thought it would achieve. Thanks in part to being in Game Pass. The royalties thing was something between Square Enix and People Can Fly and had nothing to do with Game Pass. Of course, the Game Pass decision was with Square Enix, not with People Can Fly. So that's an internal issue they had to sort out. Developers are fine within Game Pass. It increases talking points, it increases visibility, it increases all around the positivity surrounding a particular game. It brings more people to it. As we discussed earlier on, the vast majority of this panel would not have even considered The Artful Escape if it were if it were not in Game Pass.
100%.
Like, this is just a smaller title.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Psychonauts 2. A lot of people, as much as that game is absolutely terrific, that was still very much a niche title. The fact that it is in Game Pass, pretty much most people have played that game in Game Pass. I've went out and purchased the game midway through playing it anyway, because again, I wasn't one of these people who were like, right, I've never played the original. I'm not going to purchase it first of all. I'm going to play it, see what I feel about it. Started playing it, got about 5-6 hours in. Was like, purchase, no problem. Absolutely deserves the money, 100%. People in Game Pass want to still buy games. I don't know, the disillusion that people that have Game Pass don't buy games. If something goes onto Spotify, it's not on Spotify forever. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but sometimes it is not on there forever. And people still want to go out and purchase albums on the off chance that they lose that particular album. It's the same for music, goes with anything else. You can still go out and buy it separately. Unfortunately, Spotify don't have the option to do it internally. If they did, they'd probably see a massive uptick in revenue because people would probably want to purchase an album to make sure they had that permanently. So that's the disillusion gone entirely. Secondly, Shawn Layton. First of all, completely out of the industry. I have absolutely no idea why he wants to continue talking about this. My particular point to Shawn Layton earlier on, and if I just bring up the tweet that I said, it should be able to find it somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that you did respond to him almost instantaneously. That was a great response.
Yeah, and it was there we go. Nothing. My response to himself was nothing great is ever easy, and nothing easy is ever great. Just because you couldn't do it or found it too difficult doesn't mean others aren't and aren't countering your arguments with success. My purpose and response to that really was him specifically saying that turning a profit with an entertainment streaming service platform is extremely hard and complicated. Just because he is unable to fathom how to do it doesn't mean that others aren't. Now, if you have a look at what he commented on was specifically something entirely unrelated to this, but it was obviously directed at Microsoft. But commenting on a Spotify subscriber base of 365 million active users and 165 million subscribers, that's paying. Right. So you've got 200 million that are just using Spotify. A further 165 are paying to use Spotify. Now, if for instance Game Pass goes in the future and has brackets of different versions of how to use Game Pass. So, for instance, here's the Game Pass version that you can only use on console. There you go. Which you already have. That's normal Game Pass.
Right.
You've got Game Pass Ultimate, which gives you access to everything. Microsoft in the future could go a step further and say, right, you've got Game Pass Ultimate, and you've got Game Pass, Game Pass Console and Cloud, and Game Pass Ultimate, and that takes up all three. You've got 3 tier brackets there. They could turn out and say, right, okay, well, the console only, for just console, we're going to reduce that down to $7 a month or something.
Or,
something
hey,
small.
Dutch, they could say $5 for streaming only.
Yeah, or they could just go streaming only.
Yeah.
They could add all these brackets into it. There's all these equivalents. All that you need to do is just be flexible. Someone mentioned in chat earlier, and apologies I didn't get the name, but they hit the nail on the head here. Microsoft, and this is the difference between Sony and Microsoft, and this is something that Shawn Layton can't quite understand or get his head around here, but really needs to start understanding, and people really need to start understanding this as well, because they'd like to try and disassociate Microsoft from Xbox. Unfortunately, for the vast majority of these people now, Microsoft is Xbox, Xbox is Microsoft.
Yes.
Xbox is the gaming division for the entirety of Microsoft. You no longer have Microsoft Game Studios as you used to years ago, and you don't have Xbox as a separate division. Xbox Game Studios, Xbox Publishing, is also the gaming division for their PC. So there is one whole section there. That is the entirety of the gaming division is Xbox. It is no longer just a platform. It is the entirety of their gaming division. So Xbox is Microsoft. Microsoft is Xbox. They can officially afford to make a loss while they get this thing on track. However, this is also a company that within the space of 2 years has completely eclipsed what was available in terms of user base for Sony's PS Now. And this is the sticking point that will be getting in on Shawn Layton's nerves, because Shawn Layton overseeing PS Now.
Yes.
And this is the difference. So PS Now has, I think it's, what is it, 7 to 10 million subscribers?
No,
maybe less.
the last time
5 million, maybe.
It was last time I checked.
PlayStation Now was
4.
like,
yeah, it was.
I thought it was like 2 or 3.
Hold on, I'm gonna go check right now. Tell you exactly how many. It might be 2.7. Hold on, we were giving way too much credit. Hold on.
Yeah, might be even less than that, but it could be 4. We'll say 4.
I don't want to give him too much credit.
Being generous, we'll say it's 4 million. In
I
2 years, that Game Pass. Yeah, in the 2 years though, that Game Pass has been out.
Right, as of May 27th, 2021. That's this year, according to the actual PlayStation themselves. 3.2 million subscribers, folks.
Right, so 3.2. Okay,
not a lot of subscribers.
No.
Yep. So 3.2 million subscribers. And how long has that been out now? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's something like 6-7 years.
It's been out since 2016. No, 2014.
Longer than Game Pass. Yeah.
2014.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 years now.
Yeah, it's been 7 years. As a matter of fact, Game Pass came out in the summer of 2017. PS, by the way.
Yep, and and this is another thing. So Xbox is now probably going on. I think it's 3 years now since Xbox Game Pass was brought to fruition.
Yes,
and it's probably around that 25 million mark now, if not higher.
Yeah.
So this is the difference, and again, this is where PlayStation falters in terms of its actual advertisement. They are spending fortunes on advertising AAA games. 100%. They are the best in the world on a gaming front for advertising AAA games. But in terms of advertising service, what your console can do on a service level, they have absolutely failed permanently. They've never once said, this is what else your PlayStation can do. This is what else we offer in terms of a service. They don't have you seen outside of PlayStation itself an advertisement for PS Now anywhere? No.
Nope.
That service has 900 games. There is 900 games on that service. 400 of those are downloadable. The remaining 500 are streamable. But they don't talk about it. If they actually got their act together, put a little bit of effort behind that, made a little bit of a loss in it, like they're making on their consoles, because this is another thing he doesn't seem to understand, that we need to kind of just reiterate in terms of loss making and etc. So his particular point there is that there isn't much revenue in it. It's extremely hard to turn a profit. So tell me the last time that you turned a profit on the PlayStation console there, Shawn Layton.
Yeah.
Tell me the last time. Over the first 2 years of its life cycle, when did you start seeing a profit for your console?
Yeah.
It is a loss-making device. It is automatically, the moment that hits the market, it is loss-making. You are not making profit on that console. You're getting the console out there to sell software, not to sell the hardware. The hardware is a byproduct of selling software. You need to, if you haven't got the software to sell, then it's pointless selling the hardware. So that's why you need to send out a good unit that works, and you have to take the hit initially. Now, in terms of that is a loss-making service. You have to make a loss to make something else grow. If you want to sell software, you have to get the hardware out. So that means you have to take a hit on the hardware. This goes exactly the same thing for a streaming service. So you'll be able to get a streaming service working correctly. And it's not only streaming, because they seem to forget that every game within Game Pass is downloadable. So it's not just a streaming service. The vast majority of the streaming aspect of this particular service is on xCloud, and there's like 100 titles or something on cloud. Like, the actual cloud aspect of it is pretty short at the moment. But in terms of the actual content on it, you're talking over 400 plus games. Of course, they can't for legal reasons, they can't advertise more than 100, and there is good reason for that, because if people weren't aware of this, every market in the world where Game Pass is available doesn't have the same amount of games available to them, depending on region. So they could only legally say 100 in advertisements, even though it far succeeds that.
Hey, Dutch, can I add one point on to what you're saying?
Yeah, of course you can.
You back slightly. part of the reason it took Netflix so long to turn a profit, or the reason their spend was so high, it wasn't only on paying for content. They run off of AWS, and that is a large part of their cost. Do you know what? Oh, fire alarm's going off. They're cooking in the kitchen. Fine. But do you know what Microsoft has that they won't have to pay AWS for?
Yeah,
That's bad. Yeah. Wow.
well, there we go. Nope.
Yeah. We'll come back to you in a second, brother.
Yeah.
We'll
No,
definitely-
he's got a good point actually. So Everborn,
the
said,
operating cost for the online servers is monster, 100% monster.
But
So-
Xbox have that covered exactly, and that was
That's-
to the point of Everborn. There, it's the fact that these other places, such as Sony, who don't have their own online infrastructure and they need to pay externally for that.
Yes.
Which is what they have to do. Of course, we know they've already purchased Azure. Yeah, they've already got Azure servers sitting there, and they just don't use them. I mean, they could, but they're choosing not to, which is weird. They've got a contract. I mean, you can go and search that if you want to. If you weren't aware of that, of course, it's well known. They've got an agreement with Microsoft to use Azure servers. They just choose not to currently. I don't know why. Again, like
going on at Sony proper.
It is. But end of the day, to be able to get something to work in the first place, a part of your business needs to be loss making initially. There is nothing that is successful. I mean, including setting up a YouTube. This is just going down to the bare bones. Being a content creator, to get your channel to actually float, you need to invest your own personal finances into it. I am currently, like, at this moment in time, my channel, only on 1,000 subscribers, is massively loss making until I get to a certain point, in which case then it'll start recouping. So that is a personal investment. These companies have to make these investments in order to make a profit. You have to. That's how business works. So to come out with foolish statements like that shows that his business mentality is way off. Like it's as if he's just lost touch with how businesses work.
Best, dude. Honestly,
yeah. It's just losing touch on how businesses work, and this is potentially, as I think Everborn touched on earlier, this is probably why he was removed from Sony. If your business mentality is completely losing touch with reality, then that is why you're going. And we know PlayStation 5 is a loss-making console at the moment. It doesn't stop them from selling them, because if the more you sell of those, the more people will then invest in your software, and that's where you're making your profit. It's as simple as that.
100%. Real quick, middle-aged gamer guy and TJ, we're gonna come to you in a second, brother. I got breaking news that was just brought to our attention thanks to PixelBitG, friend of the show. He has uncovered the actual reason why Shawn Layton left Sony. He lost the dance-off to Jim Ryan. Thank you, PixelBitG, for that information. That is epic, folks. You heard it live.
Hey,
Jim Dance Moves.
Gaming.
Hey, Boom.
Yes,
real
sir.
quick. Just when that fire alarm went off, let's just point this out that Everborn just became that meme where the guy's sitting at the table and everything is fine. There's fires all around them. You know,
That's fine. That's fine.
it's fine.
That's fine.
They're just in the kitchen.
Edit that in afterwards. Just edit that in afterwards. Just fires behind them.
PixelBitG, thank you for the hot information.
Hey, just one thing though, Boom, that you asked the question up front about why does this keep coming back, this conversation keep coming back up. I think when we really get to the heart of it, the problem becomes there are a lot of people in these discussions that sort of pick their preference and then define that as right. And anything that is not that comes off as wrong to them, right? So, and I've seen this a lot, like in the Apple community, right? Like iPhones, Macs, right? Yeah. They will look at the way the iPhone or the Mac does something, and then that is their sort of guiding principle of what is right in terms of technology. And if you don't do it exactly that way, you're doing it wrong. And if you do it that way, then you're a cheap knockoff. It leaves no room for any other sort of approaches or business models or anything like that. And I think that's why people can't wrap their head around it. And until, because like they're not against subscription services, they're against day and date
Yeah.
Right? And they're only against day and date as long as Sony is not doing it, right? Like they were against going to PC, but now going to PC is okay if you wait a few years. And then later on, when Sony does make the move to day and date, and when they on PC, and when they do day and date in their PS Now or PS Plus, then they'll be like, oh, that's okay, because we can't have the adult conversations until Sony does stuff.
No,
and that's sort of the thing that bothers me about all of this.
No, I mean, and you make a lot of sense. And Mag, let's add to the conversation. Shawn Layton, obviously, he was excommunicated. There's no doubt about it. And if it was John Wick, well, he'd be the body bag. But...
Shawn Layton, excommunicato.
Yeah, exactly.
Minus 10. 9, 8.
And you see him running out of Sony, and everybody's like staring at him, ready to shoot him down. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No. But I mean, listen. Some of his comments are, some people obviously, like Everborn and myself, even Dutch was like, it literally makes no sense. Why does he keep getting interviewed, and why does he keep going specifically after Xbox? Like, I don't understand the mentality in his statements. They are wrong.
See, what I don't get is that this man ran Sony, or at least a division of them. He's not a stupid man, right? He's obviously a smart man. He's not some Twitter war idiot. You're not going to be a Twitter war idiot and all of a sudden be called up to be CEO of Sony Interactive. However, what the hell does this guy care what Microsoft is doing? He obviously got a huge payout for his disappearance, right? He's not walking away with anything less than $45-50 million. Okay, so what the hell does he care what they're up to or their infrastructure? Like, where's the dog in this fight? I don't get it. That's why I don't understand. Like, he said it once, okay, cool, because somebody actually asked him a question, right? And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Somebody asked him a question.
Yeah, the Twitter thing is a bit of a conundrum, though.
But like, you bring it up again. Like, are you not sleeping at night thinking about what Microsoft's up to? Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Just go live your own life. Like, I just don't understand it. It almost seems like, to me, it almost seems like concern trolling to the point where, like you do see the Twitter war idiots, and they concern troll Game Pass and all this kind of stuff, kind of like what this is starting to sound like, right? And I asked them the same question. Like, I mean, I don't get into it a lot of times, but like sometimes I gotta ask. I mean, like, do you use Spotify? Were you old enough to go to Blockbuster Video? Did you do any of these things? Do you have Netflix? Do you have Amazon Prime? Do you have Disney Plus? Are you out there, when the new Netflix movie comes out? Are you out there going, support the movie makers? I bought it for $30. Look at me. No, you just watched it on Netflix, right? Like, because you already have it. Like, I don't understand it. Or here's my favorite one, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off topic, but kind of on topic. There was a guy, 2 of them actually. He showed up and he goes, thank you, GameFly, for my copy of Deathloop on PS5, whatever, so now I can play it. Immediately, I'm like, you're the same mother effer who's talking about Game Pass and not supporting the devs, but for $5 you rented Deathloop.
Who was that?
Not going to say it on the air.
If it was Pretzel Jones, he was actually making fun of the guys.
No, it was
did that. Okay.
I don't even know who Pretzel Jones is, but I'm gonna follow him now because
follow Pretzel Jones. Everybody follow Pretzel Jones.
Okay, well, I love the name, so I'm gonna follow him just for that alone. Anyways, another thing. Now, the one thing that Shawn Layton did say, he was absolutely right. You know what, Everborn, you're right. I could see him being just facetious, whatever. Like, that makes a lot of sense, especially if you're doing it in jest. This guy definitely was not, and he was getting shredded for it in the chat. But anyways,
maybe Pretzel was making fun of him.
That's possible. The thing is, there's one thing that Shawn Layton was absolutely right about last year when he was discussing it the first time, is the internet infrastructure is not quite there in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay? And some other countries. Don't get offended, folks. You have shitty internet. Okay?
We do. Yes.
Except for maybe a couple of hubs in some big cities. Your internet sucks. Europe is running laps around you. Canada, we are running
Asante would love
laps
this.
Oh, dude, Asante knows. Asante knows. He lived there. Dutch, you know. And by the way, Dutch, my internet's faster than yours. So anyways.
I've got a gig. I have 1 gig now.
I know. But your upload speed was a little slower. But anyways, the thing is, Unless you work for NASA, the internet's not quite there in the United States. Now, you got to understand this. The United States, though, on the other hand, is one of the biggest consumers of electronic products in the world. So that is the country that you want to attract. So in that respect, he's right. The United States has to get their stuff together when it comes to to their internet infrastructure across the country. I'm not talking about in just New York, LA, Chicago, Boston, ad nauseum. You know what I mean? Of the major city hubs. It's got to be everywhere. There's 330 plus million people in the United States. That's a lot of paying customers. So you got to make them happy. So he was right there. The infrastructure is not quite there. It's getting there, but it's not quite there. Now, everything else, though, when you look at something like Netflix, you know, Netflix keeps coming up, right? Oh, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Netflix bleeds money. No, they don't. Okay? Yeah. The second quarter of this year, they recorded a profit of $7.3 billion, up from 6.15 billion in the first quarter of this year.
Wow.
Okay, so don't tell me they're not making money. They made almost $14 billion in half a year. And now on top of it, yes, and Layton said something else that actually was kind of silly. He was just like, oh, well, you know, the ballooning costs of games and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Look at Netflix. They got a new movie coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio. Do you think that guy asked for anything less than $25 to $40 million a flick? He does. He demands $25 to $40 million a picture. Okay, you telling me, and that's one guy.
He gave Martin Scorsese 200 and something million to make The Irishman.
Okay, there you go. So you look exactly, and that went to Netflix, right? So now you look at these situations, and that's one man, DiCaprio. Never mind the rest of the cast, never mind the crew, the production costs, everything else. So how can you tell me that God of War Ragnarok is any more expensive than The Irishman or whatever Leo DiCaprio's new movie that's coming out soon on Netflix? It's not. It's the same thing. But the thing is, Netflix does have a lot more subscribers. Now, that is something that has to be organically grown. It has to grow. It has to continue to grow for it to get there. 500 million subscribers, you're out of your goddamn mind. Yep. Okay? Because there's not even 500 million, like, gamers between Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Right.
Okay? When they say there's 4 billion gamers in the world, or 3 billion gamers in the world, 90% of them are mobile gamers, okay? Playing Candy Crush. Or whatever the hell, you know, that stupid tribe game where they run around and hit each other with sticks. Whatever that, you know what I mean? Whatever that one is, all the women.
Minecraft?
What's that?
Minecraft?
No, not Minecraft. It's that, I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a bunch of little cavemen. They run around, they hit each other with sticks and all that shit. All the girls play it, I know about. Anyways, that's what they're playing, right? But the thing is, when you look at something like that, 500 million for a console, that's not even close to being sustainable. Now, the thing is, they're saying that they're already doing well. Okay, with the numbers that they have now. We don't know what their numbers are now. Now, the thing is, you start hitting 30, 35, 40, 50 million, you're laughing. Okay, you are laughing. That's
all
when they can
the way
start
to
adding,
the bank.
You're all the way to the bank, and then it doesn't matter what's going to happen at that point. Because, you know, the other thing is people don't understand. And it's the thing that they forget is that they think that Game Pass is the end-all, be-all for Xbox. It is not. You realize that they still take a percentage of the third-party games, okay, that come into the system, and that is, I'm sorry to say, especially to the Sony fans, sorry to say, but 90% of the games people play on the PlayStation aren't your beloved exclusives.
Right.
They're not.
No, the percentage is less than 15%, brother.
Right. So what are they playing? They're playing free-to-play stuff with a microtransaction and all that stuff. Yeah, sure. But they're also buying Call of Duties. They're buying their Far Cries. Okay, they're buying their Battlefields and whatever else and all these other games that are coming out. Microsoft takes a percentage of that and a big one, okay, and they make a ton of money, especially if Call of Duty sells 20 million copies and they sell 8 million, 9 million on Xbox and 11 million on PlayStation 4 or 5. Okay, they're making like 30% off that 9 million, those 9 million sales.
Hey, Mag, and one more point, like to your point, if Game Pass brings more people into the Xbox ecosystem,
right?
Let's say they get to 50, 100 million. Now all those 50, 100 million people on top of paying the subscription will be buying some, because Call of Duty will never go in there. I don't think they're going to buy Take-Two, but if they don't buy Take-Two, then Grand Theft Auto will never go in, and then they'll buy that, and people will get those cuts. So they'll be. What I'm saying is, the more people that are in the ecosystem, that's more money that they'll spend on the games that are not in the service, plus peripherals and all those other things. So you get this sort of exponential growth when the more people you get in the service. It is a multifaceted business thing. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
All I'm saying is that everybody seems to think that it's the end all be all. It's the one thing. Absolutely, if Game Pass were to absolutely crash and burn, that could be the end of Xbox. It could be. Okay, it could just become like it was like 7 years ago, like just a small division on the verge of being sold, right? But I don't think that that's the case because, like I said, like Everborn even said there, if one department does well, they all do well. It's all exponential growth from there. However, Game Pass is the anchor. I get it. But whatever Layton's up to, or whatever he's like, what is his end goal? That's the thing that I still don't understand.
It's that's an interesting question. What is the point of these?
What's the point?
I mean, remember his last quote was that he finished typing was, "This is a bit old, but the truth remains the same. Turning a profit with an entertainment streaming service platform is extremely hard and complicated, not to mention the drastic reduction in revenue for creators," which I think he's 100% wrong. And I want to bring this question, I'm wondering that specific question to TJ. Now, we have heard this is these pocket watchers. And I hate to put Shawn Layton in that because I'm a fan of his. But there are plenty of pocket watching individuals within this, very vocal community that are so concerned for the devs, but they themselves won't go out and buy a game, and they think for some reason that Microsoft is somehow, Gestapoing these poor devs into giving their games for free. Where do you fall on on that? But more specifically, can you bring some light to Mag's question? What is his end game? What is Shawn Layton looking to do?
Well, that's really interesting, Boom, because the thing is with Shawn Layton, I don't know what his end game really is, but I don't know if he's just really jealous the fact that PlayStation Now didn't take off like Game Pass did, and the fact that they're not putting their games day and date so they can get more subscribers, which I know they say it's a cost, but technically look at Microsoft and look how much subscribers they've gotten in a short amount of time. And I guarantee you by the end of this year, they'll be over 30 million easily.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah. You know what? Can I just add something to your point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of paint this picture so you can run it home. Folks,
yeah, go ahead.
Microsoft did this without any bangers.
Yeah, I know.
Think about that for a second, folks.
No
Think
Forza,
about
no
that
Halo,
for
no
a hot
Gears.
second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, take it away.
Yeah, like you said, no bangers. Like no Forza, no Halo. I mean, yeah, it's coming soon, but 25 million subscribers, if they're at that number, without Forza, without Halo, without Gears, without State of Decay, all the other games, and they're just using third party, and they're using AA Studios, and they got 25 million. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yet again, you look at what Shawn Layton says. He says that it's not sustainable. Well, that's not true because obviously it is. They got 25 million subscribers versus Sony. And Sony's complaining, saying, oh, it costs too much. You don't have to release all your games day and date. You can release one at a time day and date and then build up your subscriber base. But they just don't want to. I don't know why. But it seems like Shawn Layton's just, like you guys have said, I think he's out of touch, and I think he's just jealous that he didn't make PlayStation Plus as, perfect as Game Pass. I mean, Game Pass is kind of like Blockbuster, but online. I remember when I used to go to Blockbuster to rent a game, it was like $5 a night in my state. I live in the state of Washington. So to pay $15 a month and get access to over 500 games at the bare minimum, and you're getting day and date titles, I don't know how that's not sustainable, because it is. Because the fact that you can still buy the game, get a discount.
Yep.
So, and don't forget, you can also buy it. You can buy it, you don't even have to subscribe. I don't know why people always say, well, if it goes into Game Pass, then, they don't make the money off of it. No, you don't have to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, don't subscribe and just pay the $60, $70, whatever it is. You can still do that and support the devs. Either way. And if you join Game Pass, you get a discount. You actually get a discount. It's not a big discount, but it is a discount. So I really don't see the point why everybody's complaining about it. And I don't know why he keeps getting interviewed, because the fact that it just doesn't make any sense. He says you need 500 million subscribers. But like Middle Age Gamer Guy said, look at Netflix. Very good example.
Yeah.
They got so many subscribers, and yet again, they had to dump a lot of money and a lot of production into all those shows, movies, and everything, and they had to rely on other services to make that happen. But, they weren't sustainable. But, okay, they're making, what'd you say, Middle Age Gamer? You said what?
7.3 billion second quarter, 6.15 in the first quarter of this year.
Yeah. But that's not sustainable, apparently, Shawn Layton.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I
absolutely
was going to
say
say
the final point.
The numbers don't lie.
No.
The final point to his thing as well there as well, to add on to it, is, and a lot of people keep forgetting this, but unlike a lot of different streaming services, and much like what Netflix will be when they're agreeing these deals with actors, etc., every individual game that goes into Game Pass has a bespoke contract for going into Game Pass. They're not just it's not a blanket agreement.
Yeah.
So every game, regardless of size, has a bespoke contract, a bespoke agreement to go into the service for a set amount of time. If that's going to be in there permanently, then it's going to have a different agreement to those that are going in there for a timed amount of timed period. If it's for instance, first-party studios, you don't have to worry about that. Like, why are people worried about what these devs are getting paid as a first-party studio? It is funded by Microsoft. Like, as long as people are playing that game and consistently playing that game, they don't care. Like, they're already just getting their money back anyway from the service. As a third party, they've got individual agreed contracts. Every one of them is bespoke. So you're telling me these developers aren't happy? If the developers aren't happy, they wouldn't have agreed these bespoke contracts.
I want to bring up a comment from David Jaffe, and I know different people have different feelings about him, but he said, when you read these comments about Game Pass, you would think that developers don't choose to go into the service. Microsoft chooses them, and God help them if Microsoft decides if their game will go into Game Pass. As though these developers didn't come in and make a deal for themselves that works for them to cover their development costs.
Exactly. Or the 6-month waiting list to get in. Right?
Yes.
Well, Microsoft got too many developers that want to get into Game Pass. I mean, if you're a small developer, like let's say we all created a game all together, all of us. We all put our money together, we try to make a game. Would you want to be in Game Pass? Hell yeah, because you would make a lot of money and you'd have fans that would want to see your game.
And there are people who Game Pass doesn't make sense for. Game Pass is not compulsory for the devs. Everyone in there wants to be there.
Yep.
Or they wouldn't be in the service.
I know a lot of people that want to be there that haven't been included in that and won't get a chance or are hoping they get a chance. These are developers that haven't been approached by Xbox yet. Like little developers, the big ones, they're easier. Microsoft approaches them, but the smaller ones, it's again they pick and choose these smaller indie titles, and they really want to be in there. Like you see all these people saying, "No, I really want to be in there because I want more people to see and play my game."
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, I think hands down the reason why, like, if Microsoft had the opportunity to give every developer that wants to be in Game Pass an option to get in Game Pass, they would. But the problem is, it would suffocate us with too many games. Let's just be honest.
It already has, dude. Like my backlog is ridiculous. I can't finish games. It's
I know.
ridiculous.
November is going to be stacked, and then December is going to be stacked, and then January is going to be stacked. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I mean, I work 6 to 4:30. I mean, of course, I get off earlier on the Mondays, but man, I don't know.
It literally is too many games, and that's pretty ridiculous. You know what? Let's get Cybernox's opinion on this, and then we're going to get everyone out of here. But before we get to Cybernox, I got to catch up with some of the super chats. There's quite a few of them come in. Brett Bingham drops not one, not two, but three $5 super chats. The first one, he says, accurate analysis of Shawn Layton from Mr. Boom. Thank you, sir. I like I said, I like Shawn a lot, and I was a little disappointed with the comment. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just thought it was a little half-cocked for him, considering he is, a so-called professional, especially someone that held such a high position. It's a little foolhardy for him to make those comments. He continues with Layton feels bad because Phil Spencer is marching back the line, General MacArthur, to bring back the Xbox 360 X-Bone to PS4 converts back to Xbox. Phil leaves no one behind. Indeed. Reggie Mobile 9, generous friend of the show, he drops a $5 super. Says great show, Boom, and as usual, a stellar panel. Thank you, Reggie. Definitely appreciate that. I think people like Layton want to kill Game Pass before it meets its stride and becomes unstoppable. I would dare argue that it's unstoppable already. But you definitely make a great point. And Brett Bingham drops an additional, wow, dude, thank you so much, an additional $5 super. Says, I'm tired of these stupid fanboy arguments. Game Pass can be a trial to purchase games on Game Pass if you like it that much. It's that simple. Indeed, it certainly is. But Cybernox, let's get your opinion on this. Shawn Layton, listen, I get the GI interview. He's actually specifically being asked these questions, so he's going to answer them where he feels fit, and that's fine. His opinion, he's entitled to it. The one on Twitter is a little half-cocked, and a little. I'm just typing. Obviously, it's a little bit more than just typing. And why does he keep finding it? Why does Game Pass keep being in his crosshairs, brother? What is going on with Shawn?
Shawn Layton reminds me of Ricky Bobby. He'll say with all due respect before anything he tweets out or before any other interview, and just blab whatever he wants. If you haven't watched Talladega Nights,
don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
It won like 18 Oscars. It won like the best movie ever made. So go ahead and watch it. It's amazing.
It is a good film.
Yeah, I love it. But I don't know. There could be he may be feeling some type of way now. He was quiet for a long time. Yep, so maybe he had, all this energy bottled in, and now he's just little by little, just, throwing it out there, dispersing every little information that he can. But let's say everyone already has mentioned the numbers, has mentioned, how some of his comments does not make sense, right? There's a reason for as soon as he was literally out the door, he wasn't even out the door yet. They decreased the price of PS Now.
Yes,
it was like $20, and it went from as soon as they announced Jim Ryan is the new head of Sony Entertainment. They were like, okay, yeah, PS Now $10. Then we start seeing more strides towards PC and everything else. Just the snowball effect of this. I mean, they're not dumb. Like they see the numbers. Obviously, they see the reaction that Game Pass has. I don't know what Shawn Layton is trying to do here. Like I said, maybe he feels some type of way. Maybe he doesn't. He had a completely, different mentality than the company did, than some of the other executives on board had, and he just wasn't adapting or had a plan moving forward where they can see more growth. And I'm not sure. But to me, it just feels like somebody, like he was just there, and the Game Pass argument makes absolutely no sense. Every time someone mentions the Game Pass and they compare it to something else, yes, Game Pass, you rent your games, but you can also buy games. Every time they buy anything, microtransactions, third-party games. I don't know if it was Everborn or Mag that said it. Once they're in that ecosystem, they are more compelled to, stay in that ecosystem. If they're enjoying it, they're going to buy more things on there. And Microsoft is making money on all these, transactions. So for him to come out, like the tweet was just, what is he doing? I don't understand. He was too, like I said in the beginning, he was too quiet for too long.
He probably had a gag order, to be honest.
Yeah, he's probably was some crazy NDA where he couldn't say anything for a certain period of time. And then it could be, that, I think it was TJ that mentioned it. Maybe he wants to stop, put a stop into Game Pass, but before it gets even any more traction. And it's sad to see, because if PlayStation decided to have the same type of service that Game Pass has, I believe that service would also get a tremendous amount of eyes on it. It'll get
Right now,
a
it would
lot of
grow faster.
subscribers on it. It would grow faster. Like they have, the games that they make, whether you're a fan of Sony or not, their games are amazing. They make some of the best games, some of the memorable games, and they have, like, across all these generations. So if they were to go the same route, their subscription numbers would grow, astronomically. So it would just, I don't get where he's coming from. It doesn't make sense. People were making fun of him from that interview when he mentioned 500 million. So
Yeah, again,
Shawn Layton just needs to go back, take a good look in the mirror and
Pull
just,
out a random number.
exactly, and then just be like, hey guys,
absolutely ridiculous. But
Did you say he needs to go back to math class? That's crazy.
he just needs to go back. Go, I'm sure he's made. Go relax, man. Go enjoy yourself.
Go retire already.
Exactly.
He's
Go have some
definitely
fun.
millionaire, but listen, folks,
and he's still fuming over Xbox.
this is
Yeah.
I don't just stay enjoy, buy an Xbox. Get Game Pass.
Yeah, but hold on, Xbox didn't kick
I
him
love
out.
that, bro.
Xbox didn't put a gag order on him. Xbox didn't give Jim Dance Moves all the credit for the work he did during the PS4 generation.
Mhm.
Why all the smoke?
Yeah,
Send it in there.
That
Send it in
is
that
a
direction.
Someone send him a 6-month trial.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, he can afford
Yeah.
to buy it on his own. But listen, folks, what a great show. We had over 300 people here almost the entire show. Want to thank our special guest, TJ, Drawn TJ. Obviously, if you don't know him, he is from, famously from Twitter. He reached out to me like everyone else that wants to be on the show can. And you said, listen, can I be on the show? And of course, I like introducing new voices to the community. It's something that I feel very privileged to be able to do. And you did great, TJ. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media.
Yeah, you can follow me on Xbox. My gamer tag is Drawn TJ, all caps. I play pretty much everything. I have over 900 games, so if you ever want to play a game with me, just hit me up.
Nice. And where can people reach out to you on Twitter, brother?
Just hit me up at Drawn TJ450 on Twitter, and that's basically it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, TJ, it was great to work with you tonight. I hope you had a good experience on tonight's show. You had a great.
It was
great
awesome,
points.
Boom. I really appreciate it.
Yes, well, dude, it was
You're
great
an
to
awesome
have you.
host.
Well, it was great to have you a part of tonight's show. So let's get to the other outros. We'll start first with the Wandering Dutch. You put up a video on YouTube regarding a PlayStation 5 custom controller, which it was just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. We got some other customs from you coming very soon. Tell everyone where they can add to your 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, but more importantly, strike up a conversation with you on social media.
Most definitely, yeah. I've actually hit 1.1 thousand subscribers today.
There
So,
you go.
woo!
Right.
Slowly but surely.
Ooh, good job.
Slowly but surely. But yes, just put up a short video of a custom DualSense controller. It was carbon black and blue. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It is beautiful controller.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yep.
Also have 2 custom Xbox Series S's in the works at the moment. So I'll have 2 videos of those going up. One is a custom Sea of Thieves console, Series S, that I've done for a friend. And another is a custom Fable console designed by Sean Labrie. And obviously put into effect by myself, and that one is hand painted, so that is taking a little bit more time, but that one will be done probably within the next week or so. But both of those will be going up on the channel. It's going to be a bit of a weird reverse unboxing for the Sea of Thieves one. So the person I'm doing it for is unboxing it for their channel, so I'm going to do the boxing of that. as if I'm shipping it off.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
after he's posted it, I'll be doing it in kind of a more of a deep dive as to what's been included, etc., and going through the features of it. But that's going up as well. But yeah, other than that, though, of course, midweek mix-up on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. BST, 2 p.m. EST. That's the podcast for myself. And you can find me on Twitter at Wondering Dutch. So thank you again to everybody. Awesome, TJ, to have you on as well this week.
Thank you.
And great to see, again, I'm getting used to Cyber using a camera. So it's awesome to see Cyber consistently using a camera every week now.
Nice.
But
Nice.
awesome chat, guys. Awesome chat in the down there as well. Everyone was really, really cool. There wasn't any toxicity this evening, which is really good to see.
Yes.
Smash that like button before you all go. Make sure to share it out. Thank you, everybody, and see you all again next week.
Yes, definitely, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Middle-aged gamer guy, let's get you on out of here. Where could people reach out to you on social media? But more importantly, where could they find you slumming around and potentially other shows?
Yes, well, guys, it was a great show tonight, TJ. It was wonderful to work with you tonight, brother. Chat, you guys are amazing. I'm getting DMs, people saying they love the show. Guys, we can't do it without you, right? So on your way out, hit that like button, tell your friends. Anyways, you can follow me on Twitter at the Middle Age Game Guy. That's with a GY at the end, of course. On the gaming side of things, you can find me on the PlayStation 5, the Oculus Quest 2, and the Xbox Series X. Yes, I got back into my Oculus Quest 2. All one word, all capitals, because I don't know how to be quiet. I am the Mag. And, of course, on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, you can find me on Noof Nukem Show with Noof Nukem, Titan Drago, and myself on Gaming After Dark. Guys, once again, it was a great show. We had a great time. I look forward to seeing you guys all next week.
Yes, well, thank you so much for being here. And Everborn Saga, where can people reach out to you on social media? And more importantly, check out the Everborn Saga.
Well, funny you should ask. You can find me at Everborn Saga everywhere. That is Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and the Oculus Quest 2, believe it or not. I'm also there. But I mean, it's collecting dust, but I you know, every now and again. But most importantly, everbornsaga.com. Now, as you can see here, we just launched some new drip, which will be available at NYCC, but it's also available right now. You can go to everbornsaga.com. And I'm going to show you this. No one has seen this. No one knows this exists. Prince of Arcadia Ultimate Edition, Book 2.
Nice.
This includes chapters 3 and 4.
Nice.
122 pages of greatness. Not for sale yet. You can only get that at Comic-Con, and then it will go on sale after Comic-Con. So we do have like chapter 3 and 4 individually, but this also has like bonus artwork, which I'm just going to show you one. I don't know if you guys can see this. So we're doing interesting things. So, but yeah, this is going to be available soon, but it will be available at Comic-Con. And you can also check me out at Everborn Saga on YouTube, where every week, me and Mr. K. Asante, when he is not sounding like a frog, we do On the Reel, where we keep you up to date in the latest in the world of TV and movies. And on Saturday, on Mr. K. Asante's channel, we do the Gaming Circle podcast, where we missed this week. And it's really good that we did, because we're going to do all types of acquisition talk. Yes. So see how God moves. But Everborn Saga everywhere, Twitter, Facebook, your favorite social media network, or your favorite gaming platform, but everbornsaga.com. And that is all I got. And again, Comic-Con, October 7th through the 10th. We will be there.
Nice. Well, congratulations. That's a big get, man. And you got your own table over there. That is a big deal. Congratulations. CyberKnox. Tell everyone where they can check you out on social media. More importantly, check you out now that you're finally moved. You can get back to doing your YouTube channel and potentially tell them about the Xbox Game Pass Club.
Yeah, appreciate being here tonight. I appreciate you guys. As always, TJ, it was a pleasure, man. Chat, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. CyberKnox everywhere, guys. You know, Xbox, that's where I'm, game 90% of the time, or PC, which PC is Xbox, Xbox is PC. But Cyberknock's everywhere: Steam, PlayStation, Xbox. On Twitter, that's where I'm mostly active as well. If you want to, chat up or start a conversation with me, hit me up there. Xbox Game Pass Club is my book club dedicated for games on Xbox Game Pass. We as a community go there, play games. We branch out from the genre that we're consistently playing. So, remove some of that, franchise fatigue that you may get once in a while. And it's great, man. The community continues to grow. I love it. I love that channel. So if you are interested on joining our next game, we haven't picked that out yet, but it's Xbox Game Pass Club on YouTube. Also
Nice.
on Twitter. Yeah.
Well-
and we'll be here next week, 8 p.m. Oh, 7 p.m. I keep
7
saying 8. Jesus.
No, that's
Come
all right.
on now.
We did 8 p.m. for quite some time, and it took a little bit of even myself to write it on Twitter. It's like, oh, it's not 8 p.m., it's 7 p.m. But listen, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the super chats that have come in. They help fund the giveaways, and we have a big one this Friday. We'll be talking about that tomorrow on the Xbox Factor podcast. That show goes live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, folks, and we're going to be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Bethesda joining Xbox Game Studios, along with a bunch of other killer topics. So tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.